What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the seducer/producer, Nick Scarpino.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Yeah, you having fun? We'll see how the night goes. All right. Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host. This is the good one. I was telling him last week that this was going to be the good one.
This is going to be the good one. Are you excited for what's happening?
Very, very excited.
Okay. Over here is the empty chair for Colin Moriarty. He's coming as fast as he can.
He's in an Uber cab right now.
He is in an Uber cab trying to get here. He doesn't know. No. This is Christine, everybody.
Hi.
Her name is Christine Lakin.
Hi, I'm Christine Lakin.
You are currently famous.
It sounded like an AA start.
I have something to confess. It's been rough. Currently, you star as Jane in The Walking Dead from Telltale Games. Season 2. It's amazing. Everybody should be playing that. You're also on Family Guy.
I am.
Who are you there?
I play the I played the illustrious newscaster, Joyce Kinney.
Right,
Oh, that's
right.
fun.
Now, here's the question for Nick and Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I gave you none of that information coming into
zero.
this. Has it dawned on you who she is yet? We've gone through 2 voice acting roles. She's been in a number of films.
Thank you, sure. That doesn't help you actually.
No, that doesn't help you at all.
But it's fun to watch you figure it out.
Right.
It's fun to see the confusion in your eyes.
See,
Because I have my
everyone
phone in my hand right now. And
for
I'm just
everyone,
like,
the enjoyment will have to be like
don't
watching
make an app for that
their
yet.
face light up. You probably know her from her 7 years on the hit sitcom Step by Step when she was Al.
I never watched it myself.
What?
I'm stupid, and I only watched like 3 shows. If it's not Boy Meets World, I wasn't there.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do know
here.
what you're talking about.
I was blown away that Al was coming to IGN today.
no idea who
Then
I am.
Al's coming to my house. Oh, no, Nick knows. Nick and I are old. Tim's
I
24.
do. Sorry.
You have to remember though, I try to forget most of my childhood because I lived as a obese child when I was younger. So anything not like before 22, I choose not to remember in my life. Sorry.
Now, you can try to cover it
Helping.
up. If you remember 2 weeks ago on the GameOverGreggy show, we talked about the hit sitcom Step by Step.
Yes.
And what was basically said is, oh man, those girls got so hot when they got older.
Yes.
That's on footage. I showed her that clip.
I saw it.
This is awesome. I like this a lot.
Which, by the way, thank you. Oh God, it's hard being me. No, thank you. But I do think it's quite funny that people, I've seen things like this before, and people are like, "Oh yeah, do you remember the girls on that show? Yeah." And then the one got hot. The one you didn't expect to get hot got hot, and I'm always like, "Thank you."
Now, you can understand.
I have to look it up.
They typecast you in. You were the tomboy.
Yes,
you had the backwards hats. You
Right.
came from the Patrick Duffy side of the relationship.
Correct.
That was the boy household.
Yeah, it's the boy household.
That's why I don't think anybody was expecting great things from you. The
well,
other
that's
side were the
true.
pretty princess girls.
Right.
Right?
So they were already starting at the top.
Exactly.
I
I
mean, there was nowhere to go,
Yeah.
But
You started from the bottom.
Now you're here.
Now you're here.
I don't know. I'm sorry if that's not a step up. I'm not sure. Getting here with us in the spare bedroom. So I have a million questions about Step by Step.
Okay, go for it.
How did this begin for you? Like, you knew from an early age, obviously, you're going to be an actor.
You know, I was that kid that was doing like plays on the mantle of the fireplace, like when I was 2-3 years old.
I'm
yeah,
familiar with that.
Yeah. So I was putting on productions.
I don't know Step by Step, but I'm familiar with
familiar with the
mantle
fireplace.
place.
Yeah, fireplace mantle. So I was, I was doing like productions of Annie, and I was like, so yeah. I think my parents always knew like that was going to be the case for me.
Yeah.
Or the curse for me. So we moved to Atlanta, and I was doing like theater, and then I sort of fell into doing random local commercials.
Well, when you did this.
But she
How
grew
young
up.
were you when you started the show?
Yeah, it was 1991. So if you want to do the math.
Well, you don't have to. Yeah.
I was
She was
12.
young, man.
Oh my
I
God,
was
you were
12.
so young. Of course I did. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing. That's the hard thing is because you're a fully grown, beautiful woman now.
Well, thank you. Yes.
Yes.
I was 2.
You were 2
years old.
Oh, you were
This
2
is
years old.
Really,
2
that's
years old.
You're the
I'll
worst
drink
kind
to
of-
I am
that.
the worst person, guys.
So you're in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta.
That's
right.
where you're from.
We moved there when I was 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because of the acting.
No, my dad
Okay.
was just moving around. Yeah.
Okay.
And randomly, that's kind of where like the theater started to happen,
Gotcha,
the dance classes,
gotcha.
and so I was doing like local commercials and stuff. I was down in doing theater in like random South Georgia, and an agent from LA was there with her family.
Yeah.
She came up to my mom and was like, I think your daughter's really talented. I don't know if you're ever going to come to LA, but if you do, like, look me up. My mom was kind of like, thanks. That's not really the goal.
We're happy in
Because-
Atlanta, Georgia, the home of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we're good with that. So about a year later, my mom took me out for like a mother-daughter trip. And she was kind of like, this might be fun. We'll do some auditions, whatever, write the trip off. And I put together like a tape and, had an agent who I met, and they were like, all right, if anything's right, we'll send you out for it. And like 2 months later, we got this call. They were looking for this kid. They couldn't find this role. and they'd seen my tape and they wanted us to like fly ourselves out. And my dad, I come home and I'm like 11 years old and my dad's like, he's like, kiddo, they want to fly you out. Or they want us to fly out for the thing. And I remember being like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Flying across no, I got things. I gotta dissect a frog. I'm taking care of a friend's dog. I got a life. Like, it was very funny, but he was like, very supportive of me, and we came out and did this audition, and I got the job, and it like went for a long time. So
in the beginning,
it's one of those very weird stories.
Of course, you understand. Obviously, do you live in LA now?
Yeah,
currently. So you understand how much of a ridiculous story that is that you just told me.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's probably a lot of actors that watch our show, maybe one or two at least, that are like,
it's Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum's the only one who watches the show.
I had to wait till I got Smallville.
But it's like it's different for every actor, and that happens a lot throughout your career. You know what I'm saying? There are like waves of that kind of stuff where you're just like, yeah, I just auditioned for this role and it turned out to be like one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. Or like, I always wanted to play this and then I finally got to. Or,
Yeah.
You see
but it's not like
Neil Patrick Harris. You've seen that happen for him like 15 times.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He's like the
The
comeback
kid
kid
can't
at
lose.
this point. But then you have things like Ryan Reynolds. He's like on two guys, two guys, a girl, and a pizza
place.
Excuse me, Boltneck the movie? Thank you. We were in that together, and if you haven't seen it, check it out on Amazon, would you?
That's what launched both of your careers.
I'll start streaming that right now.
Boltneck for him. Me, I think it put me down.
Okay, it was actually a step down for you.
Yeah, step down.
That's insane though, because it's very seldom that you get a show, and not only do you get a show, but you get a show that goes 7 years.
Yeah, especially like nowadays. I mean, nothing goes 7 years.
No.
But
Lost.
Only
went what, 5 years?
Yeah, maybe not even
6
that.
Why am I looking at you?
I don't know anything, guys. Why do you have me here?
You talk about YouTube.
Sweet. Just
I'm
sit
sorry.
up there and
I
be
try to be
sweet.
sweet.
He tells us YouTube videos we need to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Twerking videos mostly.
I like twerk videos.
My God, that's insane.
So, my next question then.
Okay.
You go there. How long do you think it's going to last?
Oh my God! Like I'm there for a week and a half to do the pilot. And then when you do the pilot and you wait 3 months and like they pick up like a handful of the shows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like slim pickings. I remember Stacey Keenan's mom was standing outside and she like looks at my mom and she's like, "Don't get too attached. Most of these things don't get picked up." And she like walked inside and my mom was like, "Oh God.
What have we done? Back to Atlanta."
But I was like, of course we had no expectation
of
that. So when it happened, it was kind of like, oh, shit. What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna live?
Yeah.
And my parents, like, I have to say, I mean, my parents are just very, unbelievably supportive of me, and like I'm the only one, so they kind of like helped me like fulfill.
So did everybody move? Or
did they move out there with you?
Mom moved out with me. We had an apartment there. I went to a high school in Atlanta. I went back like once a month.
You had to be the coolest kid.
God, you were so cool.
You would think. No, I mean, imagine being in 7th grade. At the height of like TGIF, that's when most kids are really getting in the groove of watching it.
Yes.
But you're younger than me, obviously. But okay, don't say it. How young are you?
I'm 31.
Yeah. Okay. So you were in what grade when you were watching? Fourth.
Oh Jesus.
Grade?
I don't know.
Third grade.
If TGIF was such a staple.
Third grade.
Of
Third,
everything.
fourth,
Sure,
yeah,
I'll give you that. I'll give you whatever you
Friday
want.
nights, sleepovers.
Friday nights. What we did.
Let's back
oh
up.
my God, you know my life. Friday nights we would pick up.
I lived your
Let's
life.
back up.
I was living that life. I know.
Let's back up for a second and let's talk about the TGIF lineup.
Okay.
Can you bring us through what was on? Do you remember?
Sure.
Do you guys remember what it was?
Full House,
right?
Family Matters, Step by Step, Perfect Strangers, and then at one point it was Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World's in there. Yes.
There was a Going Places. There was
That's
another
like
one
the
that got
dream team of television.
Right. That's why everyone's lives revolved around it.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. When they'd say goodbye to you on TGIF,
Right?
it was like,
and then there would be the
thanks,
things in
guys.
between where like a family would be hosting the TGIF. It's like, hi, welcome back. We're just watching everyone's shows. Which, when you think about it, is so weird. Like, why are the Winslows watching us? Why are we watching the Winslows? Like,
See,
what are we
understand,
doing?
when I was watching those shows when I was younger, much younger,
so much younger.
I thought we thought you all hung out together and you shot, like I used to think and fantasize that you guys shot on like the same lot. Where it was like the sets were like back to back and you always saw each other. Shut up, you're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah,
when I Googled image search, there was a picture of you in Topanga, like just chilling. And I was like, holy
Really?
shit.
Okay, see now this makes sense to me. How's Topanga?
Tim just got in the game right now.
Yeah.
All right, listen. So yeah, when we were like, we met. I was like 15, and I think she was like
Perfect
13,
age, yes.
right? So we would all like, of course, we all knew each other to a degree because I didn't go to school out in LA.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, I'm literally like, not that I don't have any friends. You know what I'm saying? So my mom was always like, let's get involved.
Let's get involved.
Let's do things here in LA. La La Land.
But this is my favorite. You need something to do? Let's get involved.
Yeah.
So we did. I did a lot of charity work, and it was amazing and awesome. And I worked with, 4 or 5 different charities. And the other great thing about it was, so did a lot of these other kids. So we all met each other doing this stuff. And that was just kind of like our social circle, which is weird.
Awesome.
Yeah. However.
Here we go.
Yeah. This is the real dirt. So at one point, Andrew Keegan was on our show. Don't know if you remember him.
Give me more than that.
If you're a girl, you would totally remember him.
Sure.
Yeah. It was like Bop magazine, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
so he played my boyfriend on the show, and then I think at one point he played someone on Boy Meets World. Anyway,
crossover.
Come to find over, he was on every show in the 90s. And
Slut.
apparently, slut.
90s slut.
But we went out a couple times after the show, and I remember being like, "Oh my god, I'm totally dating Andrew Keegan." And then I find out everyone else had dated Andrew Keegan.
Yeah.
But Danielle and I laugh about that now. We're like, remember the days when we would fight over Andrew Keegan?
Yeah.
And then I saw her at this Christmas party,
God,
and he walked in of all people. He walked in, and I was like, ah! So we got this picture of all of us together.
Hot
he was always the douche, though.
Yes.
He was always a douche.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, totally. And he's such a nice guy.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he broke your heart.
Sounds like he's a little bit of a lovable
and I'm not
boy.
about that. Not about that one bit.
So I'll ask the question that Tim's died to ask
Okay.
right now. Do you still hang out with Topanga?
Yeah, I just saw her recently.
I love everything
Yeah,
about
I saw her
this.
at Christmas.
This is good.
Yeah.
And she's on, and they're doing the show, right?
Yeah.
A
She's
little
on
behind
Girl
the times,
Meets
but
World,
she's on
yeah.
Girl Meets World, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to do a step by step by step?
Oh my god.
You would be so good for that.
See,
a really
this is the
good
thing
idea.
that everything 90s is
That would
we're
be
all
We're looking
amazing.
for a Christine Lakin type to play herself.
Wait, how do we start this right now? How do we get step by step by step?
It's already on its way. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everything
They're making
90s
the Saved
now.
by the Bell reunion
Right.
movie. I mean, what about that?
Everything is nostalgia right now.
I'm more
for
of a
things that
Franklin
weren't
and
that
Bash
far away.
fan. Thank you very much, Mark Paul Gosselaar.
They're not gonna do that anytime soon.
Yeah, but
That's
this
not
is
gonna
the
happen.
unauthorized version.
Yeah, I know. See, now is that the thing though? You talk about stick with me. I'm going somewhere with this. I do the walking questions a lot. Did everybody get along? In the Saved by the Bell thing, it's from Screech's
no.
point of view,
No.
and they hate. Nobody liked Screech or wanted to hang out with
Yeah,
Screech.
who
right.
had the coke habit? That's what I wanted.
Jesus.
That was well documented.
Read
on
about
our show.
Hollywood.
That was well documented on our show.
Yeah, you feel like jerking?
No, you shouldn't.
I always feel like a jerk around you.
Yeah, that's true.
No, everyone actually. I know it sounds really cliche. We actually all did kind of get along in
Yeah.
a weird way. The girls definitely were. They were, they kind of stuck together in the beginning, and then I was in this weird place where I wasn't a teenager yet, and the girls were older.
Sure.
But then I was hanging out with the boys, the younger boys, and there was Brandon Call in the middle, who was just kind of I don't know whether I'm cool yet or whether I'm still a kid yet. So he would beat us up, and I was one of the little kids in that scenario.
That sounds like fun.
It was kind of, because he was actually kind of we would mostly side with each other and beat them up. So it actually
Alliances.
kind of worked out. Yeah,
You learned how to do
There's
that.
a lot of Street Fighter 2. I played
Yeah,
a lot of
good.
Street Fighter 2 at the
Yes.
donut shop. So that was that was the early part of my life. It was pretty rad. Yeah.
Well, your life's pretty good now too.
Yeah.
Lovely
yeah,
fiance.
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't he
I like
cute?
him a lot.
He's so cute.
He's very nice. He's dressed well tonight as well.
He is.
Yeah.
Dapper
He dressed
gent.
up
Very
mostly for
dapper.
you.
Oh.
No.
It worked.
I know. He had a thing. He just
I want to come see Shot Spear. Spear.
You have.
You know what
yeah,
I'm
you
trying to
have to. It's really fun. Okay. Anything else you want to ask me about that time?
Everything.
I mean, yeah.
I have
exactly.
questions.
How are the names?
I have questions ranging from what was it like to work with St. Summers Patrick Duffy?
Exactly. I wanna hear that. I wanna hear
Another question is at any point during the entire 7-year run, did you guys ever play the theme from come and knock on my door, come and knock, just to mess with her, just to mess with her?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah. You have to know something. Patrick Duffy is probably the biggest jokester in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He would constantly do crazy, stupid shit. I don't know if you remember on Step by Step, but I'd forgotten this, and I guess it's rerunning on the Hub. I don't get the Hub. It'd be weird if
Few
I
people
did,
get
and
the
I'd
Hub.
probably watch it just because it would feel like I was watching an old, weird home movie
Right.
for a minute, and then it would probably get old. But there were all these bed scenes between them. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they'd be in the bed, and she'd be making lists, but she's wearing lingerie. This is on a Friday night.
Right.
Makes sense.
thought-
It set up a good home
it was
environment for
wholesome,
what I
though. It
imagine to
felt
be. That's
wholesome,
right. That's right.
And he would bring, just to break the ice and be funny, he would bring like an egg beater into the bed and a
Jesus.
wooden spoon,
Yeah.
this weird
That's
shit
kinky.
that she just
No,
be there and
that's-
be
that's some
what
kinky
is that?
What are
And then
you
it
doing?
would be some crazy, just because he's just a jokester. So yeah, he did a lot of that shit to her,
That's good.
and it was really nice.
Was he
They
nice
had a
to-
really lovely relationship.
Were they nice to you guys?
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Was it the total thing of they were my surrogate
Would
parents?
you tell
and
us if they
Yes and
weren't?
no.
Yeah.
You'd probably know.
Since
I
you
think
still
I'm
have
not
quite a good career.
I'm not that good an
yeah.
actress. They were great. Like Suzanne is very much very smart, like very smart businesswoman, and you could and also very like self-deprecating and also like very real, And I think that's what always made her so appealing. She's just easy to get along with, and
she was also insanely good looking.
Yeah, and had a really good sense of humor about herself. Yeah, and it's very endearing. Yeah, and then like Patrick's, he's just like he's very dad figure. Yeah, for sure. He's invited to my wedding, and then my mom made a joke. Oh my goodness! My mom made a joke on Twitter, and she was like, "Does he want to pay for it too?" And I wrote something on Twitter. He's like, "I would love to walk you down the aisle, darling dear, but I will not be paying for your wedding."
But I'll eat the cake, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, he's great. Stacey Keenan is a lawyer now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, at what?
Couldn't you see that coming? Though?
Yeah, I can see that. Business sense. She had the look.
Yeah.
Ice and water in her veins. Too.
Oh yes. There you go.
Yeah.
She's not like that, but she's very smart.
Yeah. This is fascinating.
Yes.
So you're growing up enjoying TGIF, but being on TGIF.
Right, which brings us back to, were you the most popular girl in 7th grade? No.
But
didn't everybody want to hang out with you?
Yeah.
Tell me how it's going to end. What's happening with Cody?
It was more like, it's weird. It was cool because I was away from Hollywood. And once the novelty of it wore off, then it was people just didn't, it just sort of wore off. And I was just this girl in school who had this weird thing, and everyone kind of was like, oh yeah, she's a celebrity, just don't worry about it. Which was actually really nice. But in the beginning it was weird because I was new at the school, and I also was a lot of how often do you go to California? Do you like California? Is Patrick Duffy your real dad? How much money do you make? It was these crazy questions. I was like, I don't know.
Kind of like this show.
I'm just trying to get
the last 20 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
Hey, sir. Hey, it's Colin. Everybody.
Hey.
This is Colin.
Hola. How's it going? No, you have to slither.
Oh yeah.
You're fine.
No, we decided you have to slither.
No,
go around. You're fine. Go around. Colin, this is Christine.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Big fan.
thank you. Greg sprang it on us, and we're like,
I'm sorry I'm late.
It's fine.
I took it personally.
I had a... Oh, Jesus, I just got caught up.
Happens.
If you know, he kept this secret from me. If you told me that, I just would have abandoned the meeting.
I told you it was a big deal. You should have come.
I know. I had this thing. I gotta fix this. I had this whole thing set up with an old friend of ours. Today, so I had to attend to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get a drink of water.
You don't have time.
No time. Okay, I'm sorry.
Christine's only here for this topic.
Oh, okay. I'm so.
Yeah.
I'm so
but
sorry.
I can say a little.
No, you can't. You have a dinner reservation.
I know, but
it's very
good.
important.
We're good for a moment.
It's very important.
This is so. How did this?
She's in The Walking Dead, the video game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's a voice actor. She's on Family Guy as well.
I am.
Oh, okay.
She went on to be an important person.
Not really, but thank you for saying that.
No, I'll keep saying it. Don't worry.
Okay.
That's cool. I had no idea.
No, thanks.
I had no idea that you were in The Walking Dead season 2. Or
yeah.
Oh, okay, I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, exactly. We won't spoil anything for you.
Okay, well, call me when you do.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I wait till all the episodes come out and then I play.
Yeah, okay.
Colin's very particular about his games.
I see.
And his TV, though. So he knows the TGIF lineup well.
Oh, yeah.
He knows step by step well.
Do you want to talk at all? Because a lot of people like to mention this, and I think it's a fun fact.
You're amazing.
Real quick, I enjoy, hey, you guys aren't asking the good questions. Here's one. Here's the answer to one.
Way to steer the interview. It's perfect.
The waves at the end.
Yeah. Oh, my God. The worst green screen of all time?
That's so
waves
bad.
Like that? Right, yeah.
Yep.
Do you know what it was covering? The parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That's
And fun fact, random fact, 57.
I wish we had 2-3 hours to talk about step by step.
You missed the
I have
bulk
so
of it. We
many
talked about
questions.
Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy in bed together and all the
I
crazy
missed
kinky
all of it.
stuff
I'm
you
so
used to
sorry
say.
I missed it.
You can watch the episode. It'll
Step
be
by
live
step, I
on
will.
Give us the
YouTube.com
view.
/GameOverGreggy.
Step by Step was such a formidable, important show in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. There was the Al got a bra, Al stuffs a bra, Al almost gets date raped.
Damn, I don't remember that
Al does
serious
marijuana.
episode.
I had a lot of the very special episodes.
Good.
Well, you were the one coming of age. The older girls were already of age.
They were already.
One was smart, one was dumb. I mean,
Someone
in
had to have
in
an up
character.
trajectory.
Yeah. Someone had to play between those lines. What's happening? Who knows what that?
Oh man!
And
But
I was just saying, who do you voice in Family Guy? Because I feel like I can.
I'm
hear
Joyce
it.
Kinney. Yes.
Okay.
Newscaster.
Yeah, I can. I was gonna say I can hear that's ringing lots of bells for me.
Yeah.
Very cool. This
And
is very
other
cool.
sundry random people, when they need the cutaways that are fat woman. slightly fatter woman. Sure, standard, or annoying girl, very annoying girl. Like
Do you? So you've worked with Seth?
Yes.
Closely, or
yeah.
So he's there.
He's just like, get in here, woman, and do this voice for another woman.
Because Family Guy's been going for so long that it's one of those things like
when
this
I
even show up to set or to the recording booth anymore.
I started there like 3 years ago, maybe 4. It started just me like filling in at table reads, and he had seen. This is one of those weird stories when I talk about waves of someone's career.
Yeah.
So I was doing theater in Atlanta. Again,
always with this Atlanta connection.
I'm sorry, I was doing theater in LA. I was doing it up at the Getty.
Forget about Atlanta.
But again, like just doing it because I loved it. And my friend brought him. He used to like come into her bar all the time, and he saw the show and loved it. It's a really cool theater company in Los Angeles. We do a lot of like Shakespeare, popular music, nerdy theater stuff. And anyway, he loved it, and like randomly came up and was like, "Hey, if we ever sometimes we do table reads, you should come sometime."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, great.
How about tomorrow?"
Let's do this.
And then like it was months went by, and then I got a random phone call that was like, "Hey, this is the casting director of Family Guy. I know you don't know me. Is there any way you could come in like today in like half an hour and read through a script?" And I was like literally driving on Wilshire. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Where is it?"
It's like the other way on Wilshire, like, motherfucker, back again.
but I mean, it just started like that. And what I think I didn't realize it was sort of an informal audition. Yeah, because they don't really do that. And I just got really lucky, and I did a couple things, and I don't know, he liked me, and so they had this role, and called me up one day, and he's like, "Lakin, I got a question for you." I'm like, "Yeah." Like in New York. I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "How do you feel about being the new newscaster?" And I was like, "I feel great about that." Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know what it meant.
Like it's the right decision. It's the right choice.
Yeah. It was like one time. But yeah, then it just started, and every time they call me, I'm like, "Oh God, this could be the last time," because I'm just so grateful for the job, quite frankly. And
you got a dark outlook on it.
No, I mean like, not that. I'm just so grateful. Like,
well, it's tough. Sure. It's a tough gig. Being an actor is probably one of the hardest jobs.
And I just never take it for granted, like how cool it is.
Right?
Yeah. We're still really making that. You get the royalties from the Hub Network every so often. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, that might buy you a grape soda.
Thank you for
maybe a 6-pack. Maybe a 6-pack of grape soda. Maybe. Yeah.
All right, so I gotta utilize this time wisely. I'm so sorry that I was late again. Stop
apologizing. I hate you. It's basically that.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if I can live with that. Did we touch on Cody?
We have not.
No, we've mentioned Cody in passing and joking senses, but never talked about Cody.
No. There were some cocaine references made.
I was just saying,
that was Nick's surprise. Well, let me bring you up to Steve.
We don't actually know who made those references. We don't have any factual evidence behind that.
I'm just curious, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but there was some serious stuff with Cody going on.
There was some serious stuff for a while, yeah.
And was that awkward for the cast on the show? Like, like it was like totally.
Oh my God, totally. Like, I mean, there was like a good amount of time. It's what happened. So it was a good amount of time. Like he just didn't show up for work, and there was definitely something going on. And that's hard because you're a kid too, so nobody's really talking about it because it's also like, let's not talk about the drugs in front of the children. You know what I mean? But I was like 15 or 16. Like I'm not stupid.
I can read the paper.
So this is how little I know. So he actually had a drug problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my reference to that hard substance earlier in the show was incredibly insensitive.
It was incredibly insightful.
Yeah,
insightful.
I think you just understood sets in the 90s.
Well, no, I mean, that's
exactly.
that's. I mean, there's a lot of that going around LA. That's why we stay away from it, right, kids?
Yeah. That's why we stay here in San Francisco in the spare
do
bedroom, making YouTube videos.
God knows no one does drugs in San Francisco. Outside Lands Festival.
And if you do drugs, just don't do the drugs that can kill you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
That's advice from Al you can take to the bank.
Exactly. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, there was some stuff, and I think there was some drugs, and there was some like fighting with the wife.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a little bit of wife beating going on.
There might have been some wife beating.
You say it so casually.
Oh, I'm just throwing it out.
Patrick Duffy wouldn't stand for that shit.
No, definitely not.
No, it was it was
Who
pretty bad.
do we think? I'm just gonna go around the table real quick, or just whoever wants to say it first. Was the cooler dad, Patrick Duffy, or Alan Thicke?
Cooler?
I mean, I'm going with Thicke just because it's the only thing I know, and I love him.
Tim, I love you. I'm putting you on the spot.
Unusually thick.
Are
you watching this?
No.
Yeah.
Is that his show? Does he have a show called Unusually Thick?
Yeah, it's on the TV Guide Network.
That's so amazing.
Wait, really?
Yeah, guys, get to know the cable television.
At
I
first
can be
I was
I can be your in. I can be your
is
in.
awesome.
Unusually Thick. That's the name of it.
That's an awkward
Can I call
name
you
for
when
a
I
show.
don't know what to watch?
Yes,
and can I just have you tell me
absolutely.
what you're watching currently?
If
And
you
then
guys don't know
we'll
what to
catch
watch,
up as
just
besties.
call me sometime. I'll give you a rundown of what's on our TiVo.
Okay. I like to FaceTime.
A lot of it's bad, and a lot of it's good.
Where does
I'm sure it's
Unusually
not-
Thick fall?
In the bad but so good
Okay.
pile.
Is his son on it a lot?
Once or twice he has been. Yeah.
Hey, somebody bought my album.
Where does that rank? So my wife just recently got into this show called The Real Housewives of Melbourne,
Oh yeah.
which
that's
is the
new one.
Australian one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
I watched the Beverly Hills. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Have you ever bumped into any of those women?
Oh yes, I saw Lisa Vanderpump at the.
Yes. Oh, she's so good looking. Sorry, I have a huge crush on her.
Do you really?
Just because I hope I aged that perfectly.
Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous,
Flawless.
isn't she?
She is gorgeous.
I don't
I have
know
no
what
idea what
kind
we're
of
talking
shading is going on up in here, but it is intense. It looks good on
Couple
camera.
needles and some lasers. It's not a big deal. You
Yeah.
just get a little bit of work
Just
done
a little
here
bit
and
here and there. Like, what are you talking about?
there. Colin's like waiting his
Colin
turn
right
to
now.
just fire off rapid fire. Okay, Colin, go. Rapid fire questions, go.
I don't even know where to begin. Like, I don't know where to end. I don't know where we would be in the middle.
You missed the
of
story
conversation.
of how she basically
Yeah, I don't wanna-
backwardly stumbled into. She was doing in Atlanta, Georgia theater, and then producers just came to see her and scooped her up and brought her.
Yeah,
to
like
LA.
vultures.
It was the easiest thing on the planet It
for
was
that for the show.
So easy.
for the show.
It's,
There are actors starving on Sunset
Yeah,
right now with signs that say "I will do VO for food," and she just
Just stumbled back. Just
fell
wait.
backward into it, came up gold.
Like a trust fall, really.
it's really
really
it's interesting that I don't know. Like
I
I
can't even talk.
I don't know where to
seen you
begin.
speechless before. This is
Smile
amazing.
this much.
Because I love Step by Step. Don't you understand? Like I have like all these lore questions I want to ask.
Oh,
Step by
Lord!
Step
Question.
Is this official canon
Where
right now?
does
What are
this
we
fall on the
talking about?
step-by-step timeline when she opened the hair salon?
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, there was. I don't know. I don't know where to begin. I'm kind of curious though. Like, was doing Step by Step kind of like in retrospect and still like you were talking about being blessed to be able to work and do that kind of stuff. Like, is it still like kind of like is it a highlight of your career or is it kind of like because it's like one of those it's a corny TGIF sitcom like they all were.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it was like so important.
It's
to us as
iconic. It's
kids.
a part of like pop culture, which is definitely cool. And I think like I don't know, like when I've seen it and I've watched a little bit of it, there's part of me that doesn't cringe. I'm not like, oh God,
Yeah.
like that's crazy. It's still there's a place for it, and I think that about a lot of television. Like I grew up on TV, so there's a place for Growing Pains, yes, and there's a place for Blossom in My Heart, and there's a place for Doogie Howser, and there's a place for Wonder
okay, there's a
Years,
place
and
for
there's
Doogie
a place
Howser in
for
everyone's heart.
Friends, and I have like, and I could watch any episode of any time of the day and be like, yes, I remember this one.
When
you
the
know?
when the show was on, did you watch yourself? Did you watch every episode?
I did in the beginning, and then I kind of stopped. I would watch them eventually. It's really weird as an actor to watch yourself, because there's a lot of judging that goes on,
Sure.
and you have to be careful about that. So
How so?
because sometimes we're all like judgmental about whatever, right? You like see your picture and you're like, oh my God, my hair looks horrible, or like whatever. You have like a judgment about it sometimes, and when you watch it back, sometimes like the judgment can cause you to change something that maybe is a better choice, a better emotion. Does that make sense?
No,
Yeah.
I'm
Because
I
it
see
looks a certain way.
I see it all the time when I take selfies. I'm like, no, that's
There you
rubbish.
have
I
it.
can't have that.
You can totally relate because of yourself.
Totally. No, but that's a common thing, right? Like a lot of people say, a lot of actors say they won't go see their movies or watch the TV
Right.
because it's basically the equivalent to like reading the comments on a video. Like
It's the
everything, the whole game.
I don't think I've ever been so, I'm not even lying, I don't think I've ever been so emotionally destroyed as when I read comments online about
Oh yeah.
Well, the comments on
about
this video
stuff I've
are
done.
gonna be
Like, and I'm not used to that because I didn't grow up like that. I grew up with like Bop Magazine. Nobody could write back. Like nobody could like write it and be like,
I love it. It's
you
Bop
fucking
Magazine.
twat or whatever they were gonna say. And I'm like, holy shit.
Or all the various things they want to do around you or to you. That's always the
God,
worst.
it's crazy.
But that's not
I
our
welcome
audience.
those
Our
comments.
audience is going to leave awesome
me.
comments for you.
No,
I don't
that's
give a
actually
fuck
true.
if
They're
they
the
do or
best
they
friends.
don't.
That's how
We
they
have the best audience on the planet. It's true. It's a very true story.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
positive.
that's
They're
very
positive
nice.
people.
But to answer your question, if I see Patrick Duffy, I do, and he and Stacey Keenan were in my web series Love and Lakin. If you haven't seen it, I think you would enjoy it specifically.
I'm gonna look it up this evening.
Okay. Lakin. I'm sure you can remember that.
Yeah,
Do you want me to write it down?
No, I'll remember.
No, he's got it up. He's a vault.
He's a steel trap up there.
Steel trap.
Right,
Steel
I'm
trap.
through him.
Okay.
Oh, no doubt about it. Just one more question.
Okay.
I don't want to waste too much of your time. I'm just curious if you had any input on your character, because the character evolved in a very dramatic way, I think we would say. Right?
Yeah.
From kind of a tomboy to like, more of a, like a girly girl like the sisters were. Did you have any input in it and like your character's development at all, or the writers basically just like, here's the script and this is what you're gonna do now?
I think good writers, and I think we had a lot of action for like great writers. And I think what they do is they sort of get to know you, and they write for you. They write for your voice eventually. And so a character can start out one way, and of course it did. I was like the scrappy like tomboy, like the sarcastic joke here and there. And as I evolved as a person, and they sort of got to know me and my sense of humor, they just started to write for me, and I was kind of sarcastic and kind of like off the cuff a little bit, and kind of like, can you believe it, And that I think, so yeah, I guess so. But I guess it kind of goes hand in hand too, It was a pretty warm and friendly environment. Like it was pretty like family.
When I imagined it in my mind's eye, it was the best place on the planet.
And it kind of I have to say, like I have very very fond memories.
Like it was cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Like we had a woman who was Swedish, and she would like she was like our den mother, and she would lay out like she had like soup she would make for lunch, and like
I love custom soup.
I love custom
grilled
soup.
cheeses and custom soups. Yeah, it was really nice.
Well, Christine Lakin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me. Guys.
Everyone, of course, watch Step
I'm
by
just
Step.
trying to blow your minds.
Download. I think you 120% succeeded.
I need time.
Okay.
Download The Walking Dead. Follow her on Twitter. It's been up the whole time. We sell it as an audio podcast too. We get every nickel.
At Yo Lakin.
There you go. You got it. Nailed it.
Yo Lakin. That's how it came about. Okay, just explaining.
It worked. It's good.
Cool, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. On to the next topic. Okay, Nick, it's time for your topic. But of course, we started the show in an interesting fashion. So as a reminder, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends get around this table.
It's 5 tonight.
There was. Now it's gone.
It was only 4.
We scared off Christine.
You had to go.
I know. If you missed it, we had Christine from Step by Step on. You need to go watch that episode. We gather on this table, each bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, you get the show as an MP3 every Friday at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com for $1. It's the entire show, uncut for your amusement. If we aren't worth the $1 in audio form, we totally understand. Wait a couple days, and then starting on the beginning of the week, Sunday this week, but usually Monday, whatever, depending on how many topics we have, you go to youtube.com/GameOverGreggy, and each topic is broken out one by one as a topic video for your amusement. Then Friday, the whole show goes up, but you don't even have to worry about the whole show because you'll go buy the whole show on bandcamp.com. You get it there. It's all there, Tim. Mm-hmm. You buy shirts like Team Fat at districtlions.com/GameOverGreggy.
We also have a sticker.
We also have stickers and coffee mugs.
Coffee mugs.
Coffee
We'll
mugs.
get some soon. I'm getting you guys coffee mugs.
Good.
Thanks,
from the
Dad.
store. 4 of them. You can drink bourbon in it like an old man would.
Okay.
I don't know why I looked at you.
I don't know.
It's like an old man who's...
I don't even know what to say. I'm still... I don't know.
You're reeling.
You're like verklempt
reeling
right now.
You're
literally...
reeling.
This is what verklempt looks like.
Verklempt.
Yeah.
Remember that?
No.
Is that too old for you? That's a
too
Saturday
old.
Night Live
Everything's
reference. Saturday Night Live reference. I got it, though.
Thanks, Greg.
Also, I started streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/GameOverGreggy. You get my streams every Monday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you don't want to do that, I post them on youtube.com/GameOverGreggy every Saturday. So there you go. Many ways to watch.
Wait, that's this channel.
I know. Whoa. You like that?
Saturday content. We're grown up.
Saturday.
We're all grown up.
Well, I just want to say real quick before we even get into any topics that what a weird world we live in where you meet these people that were like random icons in your life, where whoever they are, you know, like over time that we're in a blessed kind of situation, in a position where we can meet. Just it's not like, you know, you're meeting like just random people that meant something at different points in your life.
Yeah.
That's why I'm reeling right now. Because I know everything about Step by Step.
I know you do. You're the biggest Step by Step fan I know.
And we have to get it back so we can just do nothing but Step by Step Q&A for 3, 4, 5 hours. At least. Maybe just throughout the first season.
There needs to be good like day or two, like a summit.
A Step by Step summit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we should surprise her now by bringing someone else in from the TGIF.
We should probably just go to her wedding and podcast from it.
I like that. That'd be amazing. Like, she's walking down the aisle right now, folks.
No, we don't. I mean, we'll just bug Patrick Duffy the entire time.
Hey, Patrick Duffy. Hey, Patrick Duffy.
Do you think you can get Patrick Duffy in this room?
I think we could.
Do you think you can get Suzanne Summers in this room?
That's getting harder.
Do you think
you start a YouTube channel though, so we got an in there.
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier, I can get.
Dave
Heartbeat.
Coulier and I are like homies.
See, I'll watch this show. And I need to watch this.
I can't. It's hard to believe that you watched TGIF and Boy Meets World. You did watch Boy Meets World on TGIF, or did you catch up later?
That sounds way later.
See, the problem with Step by Step was that it was, if I remember correctly, it was later in the lineup, and so I don't think I ever really made it too much.
It was 9 o'clock.
See, I was more Full House, and then I'd watch Family Matters. And then by then it was like,
That's what I was telling when she was like, yeah, pizza every Friday. Literally, that's what the Miller household did. My parents picked up Danny's Pizza on the way home, and we would sit in the kitchen, eat it, and then watch TGIF. And I mean, every fucking show on TGIF was consumed in one block.
That's
you know what I mean?
awesome.
And even if there was ones I didn't like that much, like Full House, I still watched it.
The 9:30 slot was the week slot because that was when all the shows that came and went and that were canceled.
But that wasn't that Perfect Strangers. She was saying that was like Perfect Strangers was somewhere in there.
In the beginning, so the classic lineup included Full House at 8 and then Family Matters at 8:30. But Perfect Strangers was in there first because Family Matters was, as we've talked about many times, a spinoff of Perfect Strangers. So
right,
like when it first started, it was like Full House and Perfect Strangers and all those kinds of things.
Sense.
But the classic lineup to me is Full House at 8, Family Matters at 8:30, Step by Step at 9, and then there was always some roving bullshit at 9:30, and then 2020 was on. At 10.
Damn, how do you remember that?
I mean, TGIF
because fucking TGIF was my life.
It's all we did. Yes,
That's
I remember
so
drawing
crazy.
comics, my own comics, writing my own stories, and watching it. And then,
but I don't remember when they were on. Like, I don't remember the time slots. Like, I remember vividly watching. I think it was Friday nights. I couldn't be wrong. They moved it around a bunch. Like, I would watch The X-Files and then Briscoe County Jr. Right, those were on yeah. And I was like, "This is awesome." And then they canceled Briscoe County Jr. and I was like super pissed about that. And they moved the X Files like Tuesday, or like, "Oh, the show's on its way out." That's all I remember. I don't remember what night. TGIF Friday, that makes sense. That matters. But then because I've seen Step by Step and Full House
makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen those on syndication so much that I can't even tell you what channel they're on.
See, that's
what channel
the
were
thing
they
for me
on?
is it's like
ABC.
I feel like
Was it
I missed a
ABC?
huge thing.
I would have said NBC.
Channel 7 in New York.
My age group,
Channel 7 everywhere.
Full House isn't that big of a thing in those shows because I think now those are on Nick at Night and stuff. Growing Pains, that resonates with me because of Nick at Night. You know what I mean? So I got Boy Meets World and a generation before, but I missed the Full House generation because that was during the now Nick at Night kids are watching that.
Yeah. The weird thing is that there's two things that are weird. The first thing that's weird about this, we haven't even started any tone.
I like how this is like the post-mort on Christine Lakin.
We have to have we have to have when we do the step-by-step summit, we have to have the post-mort of that as well.
If someone out there taking notes, please take notes on these points.
But the weird thing is that on like I feel old as shit because Full House is on Nick at Night, and I watch it. I'm like, why is this on Nick at Night? Like I remember Nick at Night when I was a kid being like Newhart,
I Love Lucy,
and I Love Lucy and Cotter.
My Three Sons.
Yeah, but then you think that when I was watching Newhart in 1992 on Nick at Night, well that show was 12 years old at that time, so it's like not that different, I guess is what I'm saying. But like I just don't feel like Full House is good in that really bad way because we grew up with it, but it's not a classic. Like Nick at Night used to have good shows on it, like Happy Days and All in the Family and the Jeffersons.
Those are classic.
I know, like, but there's no classics anymore. I'm watching this and it's like fucking Everybody Loves Raymond and Full House or shit like that. It's like, what is this?
Oh, Nick at Night, sure, but there are still classics that are in syndication, right? Like we watch Seinfeld all the time, so I would say that's a classic.
Sure.
That's like really but that's it.
That might be the last of it though. Like, but Seinfeld's one of those things where like you watch it, and no matter when it's on, it gets you. Like maybe not for you, Tim, because I don't know if you were a big Seinfeld fan, but like if you went through the Seinfeld generation, 3 days ago, my wife was flipping around channels and Seinfeld was on, and I was like, and it just stopped. She just stopped flipping all of a sudden. I was like, damn it got us. Mostly because it was about getting a new apartment, and we're all about getting a new apartment right now. It was a whole thing. But no, Greg, that was awesome and quite the surprise.
Yeah,
literally. I was awestruck there for like 5 seconds. Where
Tim's like, I don't know. I didn't watch Step by Step, and you just kind of stared for a long time.
Because my thing was like
unbelieving it.
Once I looked at
unbelievable,
and then I was like, I was like, holy crap! I looked at the picture of her. I was like, my god.
Yeah.
She looks nothing like the first picture that comes up when she was like 11.
It's funny how the years change you.
I looked at her. I was like, "There's no way you were this weird tomboy," because she's gorgeous. First of all, and second of all, I was just like, that broke my sensors after this week that we've all had, and it's been a very long week. That just like something in my brain popped, and I was like, I literally just went off for about 5 seconds, and Tim's like, I saw you like.
Yeah,
you got a shucking
I went into panic mode.
You went into panic mode. It was too much.
I I don't know. Like I like Tim was saying, like he's never seen me broken like that. Before.
Like, the look on your face, and I wish we could have seen it because you were behind the camera.
Yeah.
The look on your face was instant recognition, the happiness of a child mixed with utter regret for not having shown up 20 minutes early. Because I looked at the clock. You were like 20 minutes into it, and she was kind enough to give us an extra 10 minutes, which was awesome. But the look on your face was all those things. It's like when you take all the Jelly Belly beans and just cram them into your mouth. Like that's the sensation that was going through your brain. Right
I'll take your word for it, I guess.
Yeah, because you get the weird one.
I feel so. I'm glad she was cool. Like I hope that the show went on without me.
She was awesome.
Great.
I didn't want to be rude to anyone. To her.
We talked a lot about step by step, so it's there for you.
I'll have to watch it, and like we have to get her back, right? Because we have to do the step by step summit.
Yeah,
and maybe we can get some other people. I don't see why we can't have Patrick Duffy on this show.
I'm fine to do a road tour. To go to every
them?
member of Step by Step's house.
Go to YouTube Space LA and get them all to come to us.
Could we do like you did on Up at Noon, where with the Smallville cast, where we have the pictures
Step by Step board?
Yeah,
sure.
and we just cross them out as we go.
Can we just make the TGIF board?
Yeah, we should just do a TGIF.
That's not a bad idea. That's gonna be a huge board. That's gonna be a wall.
Yeah. But let me pitch this on.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna make it.
That's when it's gonna get. Like right now, we bring people to our house and record a show with them, and everybody's been cool so far because they come in and we're normal. We have a dog and a girlfriend walking around. When we bring them in and their photos are plastered on the wall with big X's through them, and there's like strings connecting different characters to it.
So I'm gonna throw this out at you. Did you watch The Real World or Road Rules?
Yes.
Remember when they used to do the reunion show?
Oh yeah.
They'd do like bleachers of people that have the whole cast on there. What if we went on the road, all four of us, down to the YouTube creator space and invited all of them to show up at the same time?
I love this. Can we just like let's
mics.
Can we get
we'll get mics.
Can we get like
we'll get mics. It's not a big deal. We can rent mics. We can rent all this equipment. It might cost a little money. We'll figure that out later.
Dozens of mics.
But and I even want to recreate all this majestic set that you see behind you that costs hundreds of thousands of cents.
Our real brick walls.
That's a real brick wall right there. That's real slate flown in from Nebraska. I don't know where slate comes from, but I'm into this. I'm amped on this idea.
All right, let's do it. I don't care.
I actually got excited when you started talking about it. About like
Colin doesn't get excited for anything.
We'll do
JRPGs and Islanders.
But I'll be honest with you, Colin. That to me will just be a practice for the Full House reunion show that we do on the GameOverGreggy show.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? Can you imagine having John Stamos' beautiful face in this?
So we probably can't get Stamos, but we can get Lori Laughlin.
Oh, we can get Lori Laughlin.
Can we get the Olsen
We can get Uncle Joey.
Then I'm in.
Dave Coulier.
We can get Dave Coulier.
We'll get Bob Saget.
We can get
Bob Saget.
We can
That'd be
probably
awesome.
get Bob Saget because he's by all accounts pretty cool. So he might, if we like approached him right, like we came at him correct, so to speak.
Like that.
You know what I mean? Like what up, B-Sag? He'd probably come.
You said that we probably
Candace
punch you in your
Cameron
face.
might be a little hard to get though.
Candace Cameron is so the funny story. Two funny stories. A, Candace Cameron, I'm in love with her. B,
not so much a story as a statement. That's just a statement
B,
of
she's
your
married to I think Pavel Bure,
hockey player.
who is a famous, a retired famous hockey player.
He sounds like a hockey player.
Yeah, it is.
So Colin's gotten in there. He can just talk hockey to her.
Good. So you talk hockey to her, and then she comes over on the show, or
Right.
how does this?
I'll be like, I know Pavel Bure. He was a great hockey player. I'll tweet that at her, and she'll be like, oh, that's great. Can I be on your podcast? And then we'll be like, sure, come on over to the house.
Boom, and you're going. You're off.
It's really we don't have to overthink it.
All right.
I'm excited about this. We'll call it the TGIF lineup times 2 or version 2. I don't know which one. Which one sounds better.
I like step by step by step.
Step by step by step is awesome. We got to get that going.
I love the idea. Instead of having the pictures that are already here, what we should do is make a wall where we put the picture up.
Oh, like right here on this wall.
Yeah, like when they come, when we get them, we put the picture up. We should actually just do that for all of the guests we have.
This is how lame we are. Normal shows would have like headshots printed out for them to sign that we would then frame and put on the back of the wall or somewhere like on the hallway or something like that. So all other guests that came in got super excited that they were like, holy crap, I'm sitting where the Michael Rosenbaum sat.
Oh, the dog
like in that
farted.
metal shack. The dog fart?
Yeah. Or
During my speech?
Yeah.
This is my
About how to impress guests at our house.
No, it would. Yeah, that's awesome.
We should hang them all in Colin's bathroom, so that when they use the bathroom, like, oh,
no, we should hang them on.
This is the bathroom you should Tyler use
on the back of the door. Like you slam it, and there's just 5 8x10s like just on the back of the door. They all like jiggle together. That'd be amazing.
Nick,
that's funny.
What's your topic?
My topic tonight again comes from the audience.
Oh,
Remember,
yes.
if you have a topic for me, please follow me on Twitter at Nick_Scarpino and tweet at me your topic like I had this prepped.
No, it's fine. Like the two people who did last week, what we've been doing is having votes. At the end of the topic, you get to vote on the next topic based on the fan reaction. One of them won based on the number of likes. It was
How to Get Over a Breakup by at SJ Mariner 9. Here's a topic for you guys.
And if you like that topic, click here.
So yeah.
On the Super
So at the end of this
I've
topic,
never annotated one of the things you've said to click.
so and of course, as a reminder, at the end of this topic, we'll have two more for you guys to choose from. You click
Right,
on both,
right.
watch both, and then like the one that you want to be the topic for the following week.
You nailed that. Good
Thank
job.
you. Well, I utterly failed in that last segment with her.
I like the pop and the fizz.
Did
the
you see?
smoke
Did
out
you
of the
see?
side of your
Did
head.
you see it in my eyes?
Yeah,
You
I
were
saw the
staring at it, and you were
amazement.
like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I reverted back to a 12-year-old. Doesn't matter. So, guys, how do you get over a bad breakup? What are your strategies? Have you ever had a bad breakup? You don't have to say names, but has there been a time in your life where you felt that pain, and how did you deal with it? Because I can tell you right now, for myself personally, not well.
Yeah.
It was not well.
Yeah, it's hard.
You fake it till you make it.
That's your
I mean,
advice?
that's
Fake it till you make it?
that's my advice for my entire life. I wasn't always loud and obnoxious, but I used to be shy and quiet. I was like, well, fuck that. I'd rather be loud and obnoxious. So I just started faking it, acting like I was.
Was that when the blue hair came in?
No, this is way earlier in high school and whatnot, in grade school. But I mean, even that, you go out, you have fun, you go out with your friends, right?
You get drunk,
You kind of
maybe.
throw yourself on the mercy of your friends, your group of your circle, right? They're going out to do stuff. They're going to a show. They're going out to a bar. Go with them. You're clearly not having fun, or
You're not
you,
in that headspace,
but you
yeah.
try to start acting like you are. Get back on the horse, kind of thing. Not literally. Don't have sex
or
with a
you
horse.
could.
You could horseback ride. That's one way to do it.
Don't fuck the horse.
Don't fuck the horse.
Please don't fuck the horse.
What if it's a goat? Let's move
You
on.
could fuck the goat if you want. I have no qualms with that.
Colin, have you had a bad breakup?
I have. So I've been when I think about long-term girlfriends I've had a few, and my in college I had like a really devastating breakup when I was a senior in college, and it was really, really bad. I took it really badly. It was devastating. I was in like a really bad place, and I think that I was unrecognizable. Like you guys would have no idea like how I could have gotten to that point.
You were voting
like,
Democratic.
I was.
You're like, man, everything's just got to be free.
Yeah.
You should make everything free.
Why are we a socialist state?
But I was in like a really bad spot where even my friends were like, man, like you gotta like, you gotta do something. Like I was like really depressed, and I think that it really time heals all wounds.
Yes.
It's kind of a contrived kind of thing. Like nothing I did made it easier except for just days going by, and then you think like, well, it happened a week ago, and then you think, oh, it happened 2 weeks ago and a month ago, and then you meet another girl, or you go out on a date, or you hook up with someone, or you just are hanging out with your friends, or playing a good game, or seeing a good movie, and like before you know it, like the thing that always stuck out to me was you think about it, right? You pine over it. And then time comes maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, where you go a while without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you think about it, and you're like, I can't believe I didn't think about that during the entire
Yeah.
movie I just watched. And then it goes and goes and goes, and then you kind of look back on that. Like I look back on that time as a really formidable learning experience for me, and how to deal with that kind of stuff, about how to compartmentalize your emotions and not. I'll never be in a place like that again. Like I can't bring myself to be in that place again. Now I was in love with that girl. But what I really realized was that I really wasn't in love with her the way I thought I was. I'm really in love with my girlfriend now, and like you having those kinds of experiences are important contextually to learn about yourself and learn about what love is and what you want, what you don't want. But man, it sucks at the time, and everyone goes through that, and it's really, really hard, And the scary thing is, and the sad thing is, and I think about this, is that I've done that to other girls. Like they've been in I can think of two girls in particular that I dated, before and after that, I put in that position too. And by breaking up with them or calling things off, because you have to just do it, and you can't really hold that against the person. They have to do what they have to do.
Yeah.
But in the time and the space, you can't see
that.
You can't see it. And so yeah, that was my that was 2006, I guess, and that was really bad. But I'm here. I am.
I think I had my worst heartbreak around 2006 too. No, it was a little early, 2004 probably. I dated a girl that I was super into, and she gave me the it's not you, it's me. I'm not ready to commit. We should just be friends speech. And God, that's the worst. Especially when you have it all, and you always have it built up in your mind, right? Because part of you knows. Part of you can sense when a person's not 100% committed to you. You know it's coming. So you sort of like there's all sorts of mixed emotions going on, right? But I'll agree with you because I've tried all those strategies, right? I've tried immediately hooking up with someone.
Yeah,
I've tried getting drunk, which is never a good idea. That's never an answer to anything. I've even tried trying to date someone who I deemed or my friends deemed was hotter, which there's just, it doesn't really, it's too superficial.
It's not,
Eventually
it's not what it's
that
about.
just fades away and you're still pining after the other person, and then it's not fair to the person that you're currently dating.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Colin. I think time heals all wounds, and eventually you'll believe it or not, and it's been my perspective. I don't know about you guys, but once you get through it, you learn something about yourself and you become a better person.
Mm-hmm.
I like to believe. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And then you think about it, and you doesn't hurt anymore.
Doesn't hurt anymore. And not only that, but you can take what sort of your perspective was on that relationship and apply it, like what you learned from that, apply it to your next one. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And that's the whole point of it, right? I don't know. Tim, what about you?
In terms of actually dealing with the breakup, like I've never understood the whole I'm gonna go drink thing. Like to me, drinking's never been like a I'm sad, so I'm gonna drink. It's more like a let's have fun.
Well, it's a social lubricant, right? You start drinking, you start having more fun.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's all these movies and stuff of like, oh man, my girl broke up with me. I'm at the bar by myself.
Right. I'm gonna drink this whole bottle of whiskey.
That's never
Here's
made
what
sense
that's
to
about.
me.
It's a self-destructive thing. And in your brain, you think that any second they're going to walk through that bar and see how much you're hurting and how much you're destroying yourself over them. And they're going to think that's cool. And they're going to want to get back together with you. And it never happens that way. Inevitably, here's what happens instead. You get drunk, and then your phone comes out. You don't know how it's out.
Drunk text.
You don't know why it's here. And you either start texting her, or the worst, you call her. Or the worst of that, you call her, and she actually picks up, which happened to me. Where I literally, I was super drunk one time after this girl had broken up with me. And I had told her, I was like, I'm going to be a man. Being a man is telling a girl what you want. And she wanted to be friends, and I didn't want friendship, so I didn't want to have anything to do with her, right? And my friends were so proud of me. They were like, dude, that's so awesome. I know you're hurting, but it's awesome
you did
that
the right thing,
you
man.
told her what you wanted, and you stuck to your guns. Fast forward 2 days. I don't care what I said before. I'm totally to be friends with you. I will totally come. We can hang out. We can go to Starbucks together whenever you want. It's okay. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My friends would like give me and I'm like fighting my friends off somehow, like this feat of strength, fighting 3 friends off with one hand.
Well, it's because they don't really care that much. Like, dude, give me the. Okay,
yeah,
hit my hand.
All right, go ahead. Well,
yeah,
you're gonna remember this one.
He's chain smoking again.
He's in it. Like, how am I doing all this?
He has those shadow boxing moves. He can't be stopped.
At night, he's powerful.
Yeah, I think Colin's right in a lot of that, where it's all in your head, and it's just the way you think about all this stuff. And for me, like, I feel like breakups are just the closest you get to being depressed ever. Like, it's the worst you ever feel, because it's just like, man, I'm not good enough. It's always I'm not good enough for whatever it is. Then you start feeling not good enough for yourself. Then you start thinking about it all. And for me, the thing that helps the most is thinking about the last time it happened and how the time did heal it and how little it means to me now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's crazy to me to look back, and it's just like, those people mean a lot to me. Those experiences mean a lot to me. But it's like, to think that I was ever heartbroken over that, it's like, what? That's crazy.
Right.
So thinking about that is just like, it's hard and never perfectly makes sense. It's like, you should not care.
Right.
That's never going to be that easy. But it does kind of help just to be like, this is going to be okay.
Right.
Like, eventually, this is going to be okay. Now, the problem that I do is I overthink things a lot. And I'll take that and I start going down this really bad path of just like, well, why am I doing anything? Like, everything's always going to be okay. So what's the point of this if it's always just okay? Like,
I could have no job and everything will be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
but see, I think the importance is that, like, when you think, everyone inevitably thinks that, right? Like, oh, I'm not good enough for her, or I didn't have what it takes, and maybe not, but not in that way, right? You just weren't a good fit. You weren't what she was looking for at that time. It's not you're a bad person. Yeah. It's just she was in a different place than you were, or you were in a different place than they were, right? Because all of us have done that. We've all turned around and maybe not. I don't know if you have or not.
So
I have destroyed girls before, not on purpose, just because I wasn't that into them, and I let them know, and I watched like them change 180 to being like a person that was super depressed, and like one of my ex-girlfriends like turned to like, she just started immediately smoking pot. She had never smoked before, and just huge pothead, and all of her friends were like, you are an asshole, I can't believe you did this to my friend. And I was like, all I did was tell her the truth. All I did was say, I don't want to be with you anymore. Yeah. And she was like, oh, she was gone, and I felt so bad about that.
That's the thing.
But what were you going to do? Lie to her? Stick it out?
No, because eventually I was mature enough, at least at that point, to realize that like ripping the Band-Aid off is always better than the slow peel, right? It's always easier to be like, I feel this way, I'm sorry, better now than later down the road. And I hope, I haven't talked to this person in a really long time, but I hope she appreciates that, like, that now later in life.
That
hey,
person
he was
went
honest
on to
with me.
be Willie Nelson.
And that man's name was Will Smith.
Yeah, I agree because the way I look at it is like
Went on to be Willie Nelson.
He's a big pothead.
He's like 80 years old.
You're old.
you dated Willie Nelson. That's okay.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, it's like to me, it's like the quicker the band-aid's off, like you can start the clock. Like you're on the clock then. Yeah, like you can like start the clock of being like it's over, it's done,
Sure,
it's done,
sure.
it's done. Like
Now you
the
start the
sooner
healing
that
process.
starts, the sooner that starts, the better. Like you have your first night, then your second night.
How long
then
did it
your-
take for you, though?
Like
Years?
fully get over it?
Yeah, you think?
I think like a couple of years probably, but like I was over it in the main like in a month. And then like you still think about it and you're still like, I wonder and all these kinds of things. And you have to just move on because it's not about what you want. It's about what you both want. So like you have to kind of put it in the context of like, well, I want to be with this person, but she doesn't want to be with me. So like, why do I want to be with this person? You have to kind of like, you have to rationalize things in that way. It's very complicated.
That's hard too, because then it's just like, I only want to be with you if you want to be with me. And then it's like, well, then what are we doing?
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
That makes it really hard. And like earlier, what you were saying is like, I've actually never been broken up with from an official relationship. I've dealt with like people breaking my heart in the sense of like, we should be together, I feel like, and then they don't. I get the whole we should be friends thing, but I was so far down the line that I was just like years down the line, years of the friend zone
too
of
far
just
gone,
like so close, and like you think you have it and it's taken away from you, that I'm just destroyed by that. And that took me years to get over. But then eventually I'm over, and now whenever similar situations come up, I'm like, okay, cool, I know how to handle this.
You nip in the bud.
It sucks, but I know how to handle it.
Right.
But I've had to break up with, like, there was one girl that I broke her heart, and it sucks, but I had to. And I had to nip it in the bud. The problem was I took way too long to do it.
Oh, you were the
And it's
nice
just
guy
like,
about it. You were trying to be the nice guy and let
you
her
try
down.
to be good and you try to just like make it work so no one's upset. And it's just like, that's so hard. And there's no right time to do that though. Like nipping the bud is the right answer down the line, but it's not the right answer then. It never is.
Please tell me you didn't do the thing where you're like, I'm going to try to make her realize that she shouldn't be with me. Because
I'm a big asshole.
I'll tell you right now, you deserve better than me.
No,
That's the worst thing.
I would never say that. You know me.
You're an
He's
ego
the pure
baby.
one. You can't do any better than him.
He is the pure one.
No, I mean, I always try to treat people very nicely, specifically people that I like, specifically the people that I am with. And when it's just not working for whatever reason, like, it's hard for me to know that I'm going to hurt somebody.
Right.
I hate that. It's hard for me to deal with, hard for me to understand how to go about dealing with it. And I'm not good at that at all. And like, to me, dealing with breaking up with somebody is equally as hard as someone breaking up with you. Just because there's no nice way to do it.
Yeah. Except you do have the comfort of knowing that like that person's going to go away and you're going to feel way better the next day. Have you ever broken up with someone, Greg?
Yeah. I've been broken up with and broken up with people before. It's never easy.
No, it's never easy, but do you still get that feeling like when it's better to be on the side of the breaker than
Of course.
the breaky?
Of course it is.
Because inevitably you've been thinking about it for so long, dreading seeing this person. You're not comfortable. You don't like dating the person anymore. You want out. And finally, when you sack up, you man up, and you break up with a person, you see it in their eyes. It's the worst feeling on the planet. And then it starts to get better, and then they leave, and then you wake up the next day, and it's like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders.
Then your
Yeah,
car's
I've
been
never felt
keyed.
that.
Your car is douched. It's
They
gone.
douched your car.
They douched your car.
Sounds pretty good. It's,
See,
gonna
it's
run
all
down.
clean now.
It's a very interesting thing.
It's fresh smelling too.
The whole breaking up process is so interesting because when you make up your mind, you're right. It's like whatever you want, you're just like, okay, I know this isn't going to work, so it's going to be easier for me. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to suck to see her so sad, but it's going to be fine. But one of my best friends was with this girl for years, and like they were super good, and then all of a sudden it started getting bad, then it got worse, and then it's like, okay, inevitably it's going to be over. And he was like, I'm going to break up with her tomorrow, like for sure. And like he called me and talked to me about it. He's like, dude, like I got to do it, and like it's happening. Later that night, she broke up with him. And he was devastated. And it's just crazy how much that turned around. He was
Sure.
going to do it the next day.
Yeah, but there's that thing, like, you know.
I know, but it's crazy how much that works, where it's just like he went on for months of just being depressed and just like thinking he's not good enough and all
Yeah.
these things. It's like you were literally about to do that to her, and he gets that, but it's just crazy, man. Emotions and people being together, it's so hard.
Yeah. Emotions are hard.
They're very hard.
All right. So,
What's
now
not
we
hard?
turn it to the community.
Yeah, what's not hard is picking next week's topic. Greg Way. That was me tossing the topics up in the air like you do in the cool show up at noon on Mondays.
Right.
Whatever, doesn't matter. The 2 topics for next week that you guys have to choose from are what would be your official theme song that best describes your life?
Cool. It's going to be over here.
That's going to be over there in front of Superman. And the second one is from at I Have Pants, who suggests the topic accidental farting in public, which will be right over here.
No, it's down there. Click on them. Watch the videos because Nick will say something funny. Then like the one you're voting for. The one with the most likes is more likely to be picked.
Who hasn't accidentally farted in public?
Bertillo just did during the show.
He did.
I farted. So I texted Greg yesterday when I was on the train. I went and got breakfast in the morning before I started working, and I was on the train. I just started farting just so much.
There was no accidental about this.
I was just like, I gotta go. I gotta do it.
Were you sitting next to an old person?
No, there was a few people on the train. But I was just like, just letting them go. I'm like, I have no shame right now.
Were they audible?
Some of them were, yeah. It was not a good scene.
You're just jamming your head to your 311, your earbuds in. You don't care. You don't know how loud it is.
People in the back row are like, it's really loud. You're like, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. This is.
Sorry, I got headphones on. 311, Amber.
Is
that your 311? Give me the... Oh, that's pretty good. Okay.
You're gonna get the strike.
It's 2 on point with 311. Tim.
Yes.
What's your topic?
Once again, a topic very near and dear to my heart. Starbucks.
Golden
Nick,
Goose.
I know you love Starbucks. Greg.
Yeah.
I know you at least love Starbucks breakfast sandwiches.
That's true.
Colin.
You've been there when I order too.
I don't know what your thoughts are on Starbucks, so let's start with you.
I don't drink coffee, but I do enjoy. Like I go there in the airport or whatever, and I'll get like a muffin and like an orange juice or something like that. But I don't drink coffee. Otherwise, I don't really have an opinion on Starbucks.
It's like a painful inhale. He was ready for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they're like a lot of people look at them as like a predatory kind of store, like a small Walmart kind of. But I think that the service is probably pretty good. The product's good. Everyone that I know that drinks coffee likes it. So
does it
People
terrify
talk
you
crap.
at all though that there's a Starbucks on literally every corner? Something that big, that powerful.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like I kind of wish the mom and pop stores or like some viable competitor would come out because you guys don't live out there, but in New York it's not quite like that.
New York is Dunkin' Donuts.
It's Dunkin' Donuts. So there's Starbucks, but they're definitely
Not like-
Dunkin' Donuts is definitely the prevalent brand.
See
there,
that
not Starbucks.
Dunkin' Donuts out there is like Starbucks here, where they're literally Starbucks and then they're literally Dunkin' Donuts that are across the street from each other.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like the traffic actually mandates that people aren't going to cross the street to get coffee here. They're going to go there, so you have to have them right next to each other where you can see one from the other.
See,
I love Starbucks. I love capitalism.
Oh, I love it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Keep making
You
coffee.
didn't used to like Starbucks. I feel like until we hung out.
I didn't love Starbucks. This is a wound you've peeled off on. I want you to know. We're about to get into some shit I've told no one at this table.
Oh my God.
And I've kept secret from all of you. But stick with me. I have to get there in a little bit.
It's a walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
My old Starbucks. What I knew Starbucks was, of course, the PSL,
Yes.
the pumpkin spice latte.
Of course.
I love a pumpkin spice
big
latte.
fan.
If you didn't know this about me, I love pumpkin flavored anything. I'm never more happy than the fall, just because it's my favorite season. Because there's pumpkins, because there's football, because it's amazing. So, but like any pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread. But when they started doing the pumpkin spice lattes, and I'm talking about years ago, didn't they just celebrate 10 years? Isn't that
Yes.
the thing?
Yeah, it's
10
been a while.
years of PSL.
I mean, I was down from year one. I must have been going to Starbucks and getting these things, but I don't remember it all that well. That was my first initiation to it. Then drinking coffee for a long time.
Do you mind if I ask you to go back? What was the circumstances under which you had the PSL for the first time?
I was walking and I think I saw a commercial or a sign for a pumpkin spice latte. And I was
That's
like,
it. It wasn't like
in the door.
You weren't like Christine didn't get you in there or something like that. You got to try this.
Well, I didn't know her 10 years ago, so no.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah. So no, it was just that I knew something pumpkin flavored was happening, and I was like, you have earned my money. It's very similar to buffalo chicken pizza. You announce you have a buffalo chicken pizza. Here's my money. Give me the goddamn pizza, and I will be the judge of how good this is.
Throw your wallet across
There
the
you
room
go.
at him.
So then, coffee for a long time for me, right? Especially, was it wasn't an enjoyment act for a long time. It was very much a necessity. It was a fuel. I'm drinking coffee at work, you know what I mean? I'm drinking coffee at home. I'm doing it because I want to wake up. I want to be on point. I like coffee. I'm not like into I'm not into it. Like now I'm into coffee. Now I enjoy. I like walking down the street to the mom and pop shop, the Hollow here in the Sunset. I get a nice French press there. I enjoy that place. Walk around, find these little places like that. But back then it's just like whatever. I'll drink whatever. I'm drinking the coffee at work.
Senka.
Everybody makes it different. Yes. I'm doing that. I'm making crappy coffee at home. It doesn't matter. So Starbucks, it wasn't easy. It wasn't accessible. And then you talk about moving here to San Francisco, same thing. There, when we were out in the middle of nowhere, Brisbane wasn't accessible.
Right.
When we moved to where we are now in front of the ballpark, it's still like next door.
Right.
It's still a walk or whatever. So it was 2 years ago at E3 that there was a Starbucks around the corner that I kept going to with you, and we would get the giant iced coffees. And that's when I fell in love with iced coffee. I wasn't a big iced coffee guy until that point. And that's also when I learned about the Starbucks app and the Starbucks card and the rewards program. You showed me your whole thing with the stars. And
that was Tim, actually. I still have not gotten
the app's
the
amazing.
app.
My favorite thing about the app, you guys should all get it, is when every purchase you make with the app, you get a little star and your little cup on the app, and then you can shake the app, and the little stars in the cup move.
You get to gold.
You can turn it up.
You get to go to gold membership. You're earning. You're leveling up while you're drinking coffee, making purchases. You go in there. You get free music downloads. The app sounded like the perfect thing. Because I'd get the app. I'm doing it with you. I'm having a great time. I'm putting money on the card. I'm reloading it. You know what I mean? For a while, I had an automatic reloads. Then I was like, I took that off for some reason. I read like some crazy article about like, oh yeah, you know, like there's people getting hacked through their Starbucks card. Oh, they're getting thing. You know, I woke up and there was like all this money charged to my Starbucks card through PayPal. I was like, oh well, that sucks. Undo that stuff. I'm going through. I'm doing it. I'm doing the app every so often. Hadn't done it forever. Dropped off. You know, I hadn't run into a Starbucks again. They're not easily accessible. A while back, Steimer and I are going to see a movie. I went into Starbucks. I'm like, oh, I'm going to pay with the thing. I haven't done this in forever. I open it up. It's like, oh, you know what? There's no money in your card. You need to re-up. I'm like, oh, and I started doing it, and I did it, and then it was taking forever, and we got to the front. I was like, I'll just pay for it. Whatever. Here's my money. Cancel. Put it in my wallet. That night, hacked. Woke up the next day, $600 in Starbucks charges to the fucking app. I have no idea what happened, what password was moved or received, and I was like, well, I'm officially done with this app, and like had to call them and go through PayPal and do it. It was honestly, you know how people are always like, oh, my identity got stolen. This was very easy. I just called PayPal. I'm like, this happened. Like, oh, no big deal. We'll refund the money. We'll investigate. Oh, here, 2 days later, you're fine. I'm like, oh, great. You know what I mean? But like, that was enough for me. I was like, man, now I got a bad taste in my mouth. The Starbucks app that I was so in love with.
Was it just the app, or do you have a bad taste about Starbucks?
No, I still love Starbucks. I still stop in there and get a nice coffee when I feel the need. Yeah. I'm ready for the pumpkin spice latte to come back.
It's coming.
It's coming soon.
It's getting real soon. Woo. They got the pumpkin bread in there. I want see my Starbucks experiences are always tied around events. E3 and then Comic-Con's the big one because we stay at a hotel right next to a Starbucks. So I wake up in the morning, I go down there, I get a big iced coffee to drink on the way there, and I get like a yogurt or whatever. Yeah, so good.
And last year at the Gauntlet. That was
special, right.
That is when.
How can I forget the Gauntlet where we bonded? You, me, and I, Justine, going to Starbucks every 15 minutes.
Because that was when they just came out for the year.
Right. Oof. And that was another app. That was when I was making big moves on the app. Yeah. I was making big moves on the app. So I was a player there. Justine was like, damn, you're getting a lot of stars. And I'm like, I know. And she's like, I'm really more popular, so this doesn't impress me. And I'm like, damn it.
Now let me throw a quick. I'm just gonna throw a quick curveball about Starbucks. Something you might not know about because you guys aren't from New York. So one of the things that happened with Starbucks. Do you guys know about the Starbucks story with 9/11? No. You guys know this story? So
can I take a shot at it?
Yeah.
Is this that they were charging people for water?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a story, and some people think it's an urban legend, but it's not. It's true. That in Battery Park, where the towers were, there was a Starbucks there where rescue workers like went in to like get drinks because they were like it was just like fucking chaotic.
Yeah, they're dying and they're choking.
And
and stuff.
Starbucks employee charged the firemen $130 for cases of water instead of just giving them the fucking water. This was on the day, like right after it happened or whatever. And that was like a really big deal in New York at the time. And I know that my dad was New York City firefighters. You guys probably know. I know that there was like a lot of those guys protested it. And what's really funny, I don't think my dad does it anymore, but like my dad fucking loves coffee. Like he's really into coffee and loves good coffee. And so that always like when I think of Starbucks, honestly, that's what I think about. Like it doesn't really affect me in any way.
See, I feel bad for that though because that's the individual probably, right? If that had happened at
they like donated a ton of money.
Oh my god, there's 3 Starbucks that I go to in this neighborhood where like 2 of them I know that if I ask for something special or extra or whatever, it's comped. It's on the house, right? But then every once in a while you get the guy who's brand new, or he's the dude that's trying to make manager, and he's like, "No, I can't give you. I have to charge you for the venti, even though you're putting it in the grande cup or something like that, or the whatever."
Yeah.
That sucks though. That is I think a mar that on an otherwise pretty good record for Starbucks in my
Yeah,
book.
that's the problem, right? Like it's the individual in that scenario of just like, yeah, I can imagine the entire world's been turned on its fucking head, and I'm some assistant manager at Starbucks. I'm like, you want all the water? It's $120. Give it to me. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I would have given him the water.
Yeah,
I love America.
it's just one of those things. Now, on the other side, they have started this program where they're basically paying for all their employees to go to college. I don't know if you guys saw that thing like last
I
month.
did not see that. That's
it's like a
awesome.
big thing where they're basically saying like they can retain their employees for longer, and like the employees are happier if like they help them pay their tuition and stuff like that. There's just, like,
Well, they give them
whole
health care too, right?
Yeah, they treat their employees pretty well. It's very much like In-N-Out and some other Starbucks is publicly owned, I think, but some of these other companies like Chick-fil-A is another one like where they everyone gets Sunday off and they're treated well and they're paid well above average for their jobs and stuff like that. So you got to give them props where props are due. I think that the CEO of Starbucks came up with the idea to like be like, let's pay for these guys to go to school and we can retain them and make them happier and they're better and they're healthier and all these. I don't know. So there's something to be said about that too. You can't hate on them all. I mean, I think a lot of people hate Starbucks because it's the same reason they hate Walmart. They don't understand market capitalism and they think that like these are just predatory stores, and they are, but it's because it's what we talked about in a conversation with Colin about Walmart, where everyone's like, why is Walmart moving into my neighborhood? And it's like
when we interviewed Andy Rooney about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the 60 Minutes
my
reference. And it's like, yeah, they moved in and all your neighbors shop there. If you fucking hate it so much, if you hate Starbucks and you hate Walmart, don't fucking go there.
Yeah.
And like tell your friends and your friends and friends. But the fact is when one of these stores goes in, when a Starbucks goes into your little town and puts out the local cafe, puts the local cafe out of business, it's because they're charging less and you don't want to pay more money. So stop acting like you're all high and mighty. Those are the people that hate Starbucks and they hate Walmart. There's no reason to really hate them.
You see, I enjoy them for many reasons, and one of them is the consistency. It's when it comes to the mom and pop places, I enjoy those too, but that's way more.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't know what you're gonna get. Like I like mochas. I like mochas a lot. Mochas taste different at different places.
I like mochas a lot.
Like I really do. I get them like every day, and at Starbucks, I know what I'm getting, and I know that no matter which Starbucks I go to, they're pretty much gonna taste the same.
It's gonna taste exactly the same.
And it's like, is it the best mocha I've ever had? Definitely not. But it's good enough always. And their coffee, just their plain coffee, tastes horrible. But I've never had a coffee that I'm like, I love that.
I will say that like I think Pete's probably hasn't beat with I think the Pete's coffee, the iced coffee tastes better. But there's just more. It just happens to be one of those things of like I started with Starbucks. It was the first thing I could do in Riverside, California as a social outlet that wasn't, indulging in, illegal substances or trying to party. It was literally like, oh, there's a coffee shop open called Starbucks. I thought it was, here's how stupid I am. I was like, this is cool. What a great idea. They should make more of these. Little did I know at the time that when it trickles down to Riverside, there's already 50 billion of them out in the world. And we're on a little island. But they put it there. And I was like, this is an awesome place because it's clean. It looks cool. It seems to be, they didn't have Wi-Fi back then.
Free landline telephone calls.
Hello, Grandma Bell. But it was a cool place that was, yeah, you're right, consistent, and I could go there with my friends, and it was I could be 17 years old and go to this place and feel like an adult.
And that's awesome. And that to me is the most important thing about Starbucks is they're always like pushing the trends with stuff like Wi-Fi and all that stuff. They were like the first people to have, here's free Wi-Fi, and like they're always trying to do these cool things. They
used to make it harder though. The Wi-Fi, you used to have to like do some stuff.
But that was like the beginnings of it, it had to be that hard, and they're always trying to like renovate. Like they're renovating constantly, and it's usually to make more seats and like to be able to have bigger groups and accommodate these things. And that's awesome because my formative years were spent at Starbucks, like sitting with my friends talking, and the fact that a lot of them are 24 hours. That's something special out here because there's not too many of those things.
Really?
Yeah. Like
I don't know. Growing up for us, it was like Steak and Shakes and Perkins.
Awesome.
Remember anybody know what I'm talking about?
No.
What is it?
Steak and Shakes, Perkins, they were all 20. Denny's, like those were 24/7.
Well,
so you go hang out those.
Yeah.
days.
So here, like in the Bay Area, it was Starbucks, Denny's, and Nations when that opened out in
Nations is good.
and In-N-Out, but In-N-Out's not all night. But yeah, Starbucks was definitely the like let's go hang out with our friends, and like it was special. Like you would talk to people there.
Yeah.
Like there's something
You'd bond
about
with people there.
Starbucks is like, oh, it's a coffee place. And when you're 12 and 13, it's like no one really drinks coffee. They all just drink mochas, and some people don't stop doing that. It's special because you try to act more grown up there.
Yeah.
So you have more grown up conversations, which I just talked about sex a lot, but it was good.
Hey guys, what do you think sex is gonna be like?
Yeah.
What are the grossest thing about sex? Maybe 10 years from now, I'll have a podcast, and that'll be one of the topics on last
Yeah, I
week's
bought
show.
this balloon filled with sand.
What?
That's what I would talk about at Starbucks.
Oh, yeah, it was good talks.
That's weird.
And there's also something very special about the people that work at Starbucks.
They're
Like,
saints, these people.
they're awesome. And
Big time shout out to the San Diego girl who knows me and wrote Beyond on my cup 2 years ago and then talked to me again this year, like without missing a beat.
That's
Just, what's up, Greg? You want this? I was like, yeah, I do. Oh, right. Last year. How you doing? Good to see you.
That's awesome.
Still working here. That's awesome. You're amazing.
Those people, if you work in a Starbucks,
A barista, they call
if you're a barista or you're working in any way, shape, or form affiliated with a Starbucks in San Diego or in the Gaslamp District around Comic-Con, you are a saint. You are a saint. We love you, and you got me through Comic-Con. Just FYI. Also,
You the real MVP.
and the Trenti iced coffee, which I upgrade to during every show. True story.
yeah, good.
That's
So
the one
big.
that looks, it's this big. You have to carry it with
30
two hands. Like
ounces?
I feel like a child carrying a cup for the
like a
first
big
time.
gulp.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing.
Oh, I love that.
Cumbersome.
Yeah.
7 Mary 3.
7 Mary 3.
Cumbersome. That was their song. Remember that song?
No.
Two black, a two white, two rich, a two poor. You don't.
I have
Yeah.
no
Oh my
recollection of
god,
what you
dude!
find it.
Yes, you do. Oh my god.
I was going to make a Benedict cumbersome.
Oh my
Do it.
god.
Do it in a
God,
short
dude.
enough fashion and not get us a copyright strike.
Come on.
But yeah,
You definitely
the
know this
people that work at
fucking
Starbucks
Maybe,
has
have you
always
ever thought
been
maybe it's
special.
just the worst impression?
Why is
Because
that, Tim?
everyone has. Have you had a crush on a Starbucks girl?
I can't say I have.
Really?
Yeah, Starbucks people to me are like they're too to be revered. I can't get that close to them. There's like that. They work on the side that gives me the drug. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I can't get to know them. I don't want to mess with them. I don't want to mess with the formula that's happening over there. Like I know some people. I'm friends with one of the managers over at the Starbucks in Marina. He's a really cool guy named Nick.
That's just you.
What? No, his name's Nick, and he's a super cool guy. He's got gray hair.
That's just you.
Maybe it is me. Do I moonlight as someone skinnier? But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you have to strike the fine line, I think, because when you go to the same Starbucks over and over again, you start to form these interpersonal relationships. But then at some point, something's going to go wrong, and it makes you feel even more like an asshole when you have to go, hey, you messed up my drink.
Yeah.
Person whose
Well,
name I
see,
can't remember.
That's what I'm leading to here. Is so in high school and middle school, a lot of us had crushes on these girls, and my friend Alfredo is somebody that acts on those crushes. And there was one summer where Alfredo just had met up with a lot of girls and like dated a couple here and there. And then the next summer, I could not go to a Starbucks without running into one of them. And it would be so awkward, just me and Alfredo going to order coffee, and it was just like, uh-oh.
How they gonna spit in this?
Exactly.
see
It was just like you always have to deal with that, and it gets worrisome. Also, Best Buys, every single Best Buy.
Yeah, he likes Best Buy girls for some reason.
They liked him.
If you want to remove the sex from it, I ruined.
There's no sex. I mean, I'm not saying there was no sex, but I'm saying that like he.
Whatever.
don't have
Okay,
confirmation
can we
on
just
sex,
remove
so-
the relationship aspect
There you
from
go.
it?
There you
Thank
go.
you very much. Across the street from IGN, there's this place called Ironside. I love their coffee and I love their food.
Yes.
I've broken myself of it in recent months, but for a while I was addicted and going like every day to buy food there. Right?
That must
And
have been $10,000.
It wasn't
by the
that
way.
bad. A
place is
bagel
so
and a
expensive.
bagel isn't that bad. And then it isn't that bad there. Thank you. When I'm hungover, I want to go over there and get the breakfast burrito with chorizo, no beans. That's the order right
Extra
there.
beans.
No, that's the opposite of what I want. And so like I'm in there enough where I'm ordering all this stuff. And first off, fuck you. You go to Starbucks 3 times a day. You're gonna throw a rock at me about my food being too much in the morning.
I started going to that bookstore behind the office. It's only like $1.25.
Oh, Crossroads.
Yeah, Crossroads is awesome. Decent
See,
coffee.
I don't trust that place. That's the place that I'm talking about. I don't like their mochas. They taste weird, and I don't trust them.
Well, it doesn't taste great, but it's half the price of Starbucks, so I can go there twice as much.
It is the third the price of Ironside too.
Ironside
It's
costs
not a-
$10.
I go to Ironside every day, and I don't know why, because it's expensive.
It's good. The coffee when they were still the blue bottle, they were really good. The new stuff I'm not a big fan of. The roast, whatever. If we can just
Keep
stay
going.
on the
Keep
fucking
going.
story about me not having sex with the chef there, the man chef. I'm there. We make eye contact.
I didn't know we were on that story.
He gives me. I'm buying food there so much. We have that relationship, that nod,
Yeah.
the hey, how you doing? Have a great day. You too. Blah blah blah. And one day he makes my burrito and he comes out and he gives it to me. And he's like, hey man, I'm sorry. You know I screwed up and put beans in this one. If it's a big deal, I can. And I'm like, it's a big deal. Make me another one. And he gave me one of those looks of like, really? And I'm like, yes. And like. That was the end. That was the end of like friendshipy talk. Now it's just like, here's your food. Thanks.
That's
Oh well, that's his fucking.
I'm not eating
problem.
no fucking beans.
That's the crappy thing. That's the thing about having those interpersonal relationships with these people. Like, they are there to do a job. You are there to be the person, the client, right? And inevitably, there's going to be some friction, so to speak. And let me tell you, when you're paying $3 for a cup of coffee, you better get that right. That's $3 for a cup of coffee that I finish in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
it also sucks when you start to know the people that work there every day at these places, and you're just like, I like when you make my stuff. I don't like when you make my stuff. Then you have to like try to like
time it.
Time it with the people you're with. But then you go with the same people every day, and they also want the same person. It gets bad. It gets real.
I've never gone that granular with it.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
I
walking
can't say-
in, I gotta be third. I gotta be third.
I literally do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it doesn't work out for me that
Well,
way.
when you get iced coffee, you can't screw that up. They just take it, they pour it over ice, and they give it to you.
Mochas, they're very screw upable.
All right, real quick before we go to the next topic.
We got the cumbersomes here?
Yeah, you got to know this one.
Nope.
That is
Sounds
not
like Pearl
ringing
Jam. Is
any
that Pearl
bells.
Jam?
It does sound like a broke ass.
It was
that
like around
Soundgarden?
How do you
Poor
not
man's-
know that song? That song was huge.
Well,
in,
it doesn't sound
1995.
good, so that's probably the first problem.
That was the fucking jam. That was all that 7 Mary 3 came and went. That was it.
I think
There was
Portillo
something
just found himself in the mirror.
Oh my god, he's staring at himself. Look at it.
What are you? Where do you get off coming in here, dog? This is my house and my people.
He just charges it and knocks himself out. No, that would suck.
My topic.
Yes.
This can be summed up with 2 words: New Zealand. I will take you back to last week's Game Over Greggy show. We're talking about Monopoly. Colin tells me about a good documentary, Under the Boardwalk, about these professional Monopoly players. They're going and that's how it opens. What a great song! I was so happy they used that. But they go and it's these people. They're playing through the Monopoly World Tournament. Yada yada yada. Blah blah. They have different. Every country has a representative at this thing, and they're going through and they're showing the different people winning who they are, and England and Africa, and blah, 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 they're bumping around doing all these different things. Not Africa, obviously. Then they jump over and they're like, New Zealand's winner, and they panned the globe to show you where New Zealand was, and I realized I had no earthly idea where New Zealand was. Now, in the car, I mentioned this, and
Don't ask Colin because he knows exactly where it is.
no, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like we're about to go on this for a while. Nick, do you know where New Zealand is?
I want to say, no, I don't know it 100%, but I want to say it's near Australia.
It is.
Yes.
It has to
Yes,
be.
it's north of Australia, right?
No.
No, south of Australia.
Yes.
Okay.
Southeast.
It's one of the islands,
Right.
like, by Australia.
Right. It's like
How would
there's.
you know that?
It's like a ripple.
It's New
off of-
Zealand, and then it's there's another one that's right by it, right?
Like what, Tasmania or whatever?
I don't know. It's an archipelago or something like that, right?
Archipelago.
Whatever.
See, I only know this because
New
of
Zealand
Lorde.
is 2 big
Because of
islands.
oh,
Is
what?
it two
Lorde,
big islands?
The singer.
Oh, okay.
I know she was from New Zealand.
Or 3 maybe.
Yeah.
I thought she was from Australia because when she talks, she kind of has that
Well, sure.
like, accent. I'm like, oh, that must be near there. The only reason I would know New Zealand
See,
is Australia.
there's so much to unpack with what you just said, but we'll just dial it back. They
Yeah.
pan the globe, they show New Zealand next to Australia, and I'm just like, huh. I did not know New Zealand was there. And in my head forever, like I tweeted this. I'm very honest about my flaws, right? I'm stupid for not knowing this. Don't get me wrong. This is one of those moments where you're like, man, I can't believe I'm that dumb that I tweeted about it. Colin wasn't even sure if I was serious about the tweet. People were going back and forth on Twitter like, you can't be this stupid, right? And then there was, which I'll get to in a second, a whole bunch of other people going, I don't know where it is either. And I noticed really quick there was a huge divide of Americans who had no idea where New Zealand was, and the rest of the world going, you're stupid and you're a typical American. But
Ugly American.
Christine came home, right? And she's like, Are you serious? Like, did you think it was nowhere? And I'm like, no, I in my head I thought it was on the Earth. Like, I'm
Did
not
you
like,
think it was nowhere?
it's like I didn't know it was a country, right? I always thought for some reason that it was like east of England. It was on Europe. It was like northeast of France. We're going up towards like Switzerland and stuff like that over there by Zealand, as many people
All right,
say.
wait.
I threw that in for you.
You're going north of France, and
Northeast.
you're
northeast.
and you're talking about Switzerland.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I threw that
Do
in
you
for
know where Switzerland?
Yeah, it's like down and around here. But the
Down and
problem
around
was,
here. It's right about there. Yeah.
you go over from France, up and over from
It's
France.
like where
is what I'm
Belgium
saying.
and the Netherlands are.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And so I always thought it was there. And so what you said that was very funny is like they had the same accent as Australians. I knew this. Never
Don't tell
dawned
them
on
that.
me.
Don't tell someone from New Zealand they have the same accent. They'll get pissed off. They
Can
go,
we just stick on the topic for a second? Because we're all going to get back to the same point here real quick. That it never dawned on me the fact that I thought that was there. That like the fact that why would these people have Australian-like accents? Is that fine? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And be up here, over
welcome, New
here in
Zealand.
Europe or whatever, right? On top of that, so I tweeted out, people start getting mad. And again, it's the international people who are getting mad at me. And it's all the Americans, not all the Americans, obviously. Because Colin was already like, oh, I'm American. I know where it is.
A lot of the Americans.
Yeah, a lot of Americans, and it was just who just had no idea. And so I didn't tweet anything out angrily or anything because I'm wrong. Like I'm wrong. I should know where this is. You know what I mean? But it comes back to the fact that I think for Americans, if we haven't bombed you or gone to war with you or gone to war with you, like I mean, like at our side, we don't know. I don't know anything about your countries, and I'm not trying to say that to be offensive in any way, shape, or form. Again, I'm saying I want to talk a little bit about why that is. Is it that is it a cop out, Colin, for me to say that America's so big? There's so many states. There's so much land that we're focusing on ourselves more because there's so much shit happening here, and the fact that New Zealand doesn't blip on my radar other than Lord of the Rings, which many people were quick to point out. Oh, what's your fucking problem? Where do you think they filmed Lord of the Rings? Like.
Was it the guy from Spider-Man?
It was Spider-Man. It was the guy who said he was there. But I mean, that was
Why
that
don't
like.
you drop a crane on this guy? This is no geography.
Hey, swing the cranes around so he can get from New Zealand to Australia. You're our man, Spidey. Oi! No, it was one of those things where people were saying that, right? Like as if that was justifiable because of the Lord of the Rings movie. I think a lot of Americans know where New Zealand is, but I don't care about Lord of the Rings.
I don't think it's because the Lord of the Rings movie that a lot of Americans know for it because of,
yes.
I think this is the thing that this actually really got me because I was like, how is that possible? You know, like it was one of those things where I understand that some people, there are things I don't know and there are things everyone doesn't know.
Yeah.
But when I think about the world, I know where basically every country is generally.
Sure.
You know, like you'd be really hard pressed to name a country where I'm like, I don't know somewhat or pretty specifically where it is.
I get mixed up with like the Philippines and things like that. Like where those
like all the islands and
all
stuff?
the islands and all that stuff.
Like
That
Indonesia and then like up to
all
like
that stuff. That
Philippines
always
out
trips me
here
out.
and then you go up to like Southeast Asia and Laos and Vietnam. Like that's the thing is like because I don't know like you said like you know we would know if we bombed you or went to war with you or whatever. Like can you find Iraq?
Yes.
Can you find Afghanistan?
Yes.
So like you know where these kind of more obscure, tougher to understand places are based on the fact
But they're
that
in the
we just went
news
to war
more
with them.
for us because they're newsworthy for us because we're doing something there that's bad or good. You know, there's
depending on how you look at
exactly.
it.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to be vague on it. I mean, like, depending on how you look at it and what's happening there, right? That there's like a death there, or there's a bombing, or this, or we're at war. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, here's the thing. I made a joke on obviously my Twitter, my 140 characters about like. Great job, U.S. educational system, right? And it was like, that's your own fault. It's a Mizzou education, blah, blah, blah. Again, New Yorker guy coming out, the one construction worker. But I think, like, there's a lot of layers to this problem. But I took all the same geography classes you guys did, and I passed them and did well in them. But I memorized what I needed to memorize for the test and then said, fucking erase it. Why do I need any of this?
See, I think I know where like Mount Gagazet is in Spira from Final Fantasy X way more than I know about
sure.
what any of these things are. And that's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, this is what I always think about when Colin talks. We talk about this all the time, and just like the fact that Colin, you know, is this history guy, and I always talk about the fact that I love history, but I'm not on Colin's level. He's like, why do you say that, boy? Because I feel it's insulting to what he does and what he is. In the same way, it'd be insulting if like nobody at this table, but if somebody's like, I'm a big DC fan, I'd be like, how big of a DC? You know what I mean? Like, there's different levels to what you do, and I've clearly and admittedly have invested my time and interest and brain power into nerdy, fun things that I want to know more about. Right? Like I can tell you,
I know that shit.
I can
back
tell
and
you
forth.
all the history of Metropolis, and outside, I know nothing of New Zealand. In my Australian history, is pretty much you were a prison colony that now rules itself. You know what I mean? Like that's. And I'm not trying to be insulting those. Like a lot of people were like super offended by this. Like a lot of New Zealand kids were tweeting me, being like, "That's where I live, man. I'm a big fan. What's up?" And I'm like, This isn't me trying to be mean to you. Like I'm not. This isn't me bashing you. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know, and I don't have a good answer for you other than I studied geography. I remember getting the extra credit in geography, and because I knew whatever.
Because you colored in the maps?
Some random place. No, some
New
random
Zealand.
thing I had
It's
to.
green.
Yeah, done. Good enough. It's up here. The Schreier.
This is where I blame the internet, right? Because the internet has become this thing that means you don't have to remember anything.
Yeah,
true.
So like when it comes to geography or where anything is on a map, I don't commit that. Like you were saying, like it's not one of my passions. Like Colin has a passion for things like that and history. So he commits those things to memory. It's a passion subject, so you're going to learn more about it. You're going to retain more of it. For me, geography, no. I couldn't tell you where half the states are in the United States.
See, now that's the opposite. I feel like if you give me the empty United States, I'm going to be able to fill it in and do it.
No.
But that's because I'm fascinated with what we do here. And this is something I want to... I'm getting all over the map.
I could get the western area of the United States.
Where there's 4 states?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. And if you got me one drink in me, I couldn't tell you which one was Washington or Oregon, where they were.
Are you serious?
I'm joking.
Okay.
Because I'm going to.
Now I'm getting mad.
I'm going to Portland. I'm going to Portland in like 2 weeks, so I had to look that up on a map. But that's the thing. The internet it makes all of that stuff null and void, right? And that's a scary concept. Like you don't have to know where things are on a map because your life doesn't really depend on that anymore. We got Google Maps. Like I don't really have to know where New Zealand is because no one's going to come up to me and be like, hey, tell me where New Zealand is right now and is it 1 or 2 islands or I'm going to kill you. It's not going to happen, right? So when you say where's New Zealand, I'm like, well, I don't know, it's near Australia. And you say north or south and I go, hold on, Google.
Yeah.
South. I thought it was south, but why do I have to doubt myself? I've got Google.
Steering this back to why I think, and again, this is a generalization based on the people who tweeted me and were internationals. Internationals were offended again that I didn't know New Zealand. I'm dumb. You're dumb American, which I've always said I'm a meathead American from the middle of the country. I think there's something to be said, and this is what I was talking about earlier. I want Colin's opinion on this. The fact that the United States is so vast, there's so much going on. There's 50 states right here. The fact that I think if you're just England, if you're this one like small, you're like the size of a state. You know what I mean? It's easier to understand, especially when you're an island. I mean, your livelihood is connected to so many different things that makes more sense to you. I don't maybe I'm again generalizing, but it's the same flip flop of like how many people in New Zealand can tell me where Kansas is, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but they can tell you where the United States is, and like that.
But again, we're in every fucking headline.
Sure, but I don't know. I don't really agree with you. Like, I think that. This reminded me a lot of like when I have conversations with people and they'll talk about like the planets, right? And they're like, "What's the planet like for next to us, Mars?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, Mars is next to us." Like to me, like there's certain things that like you just have to know, like that you just know, right? The order of the planets is one of those things. You have to know the order of the planets. Like
my very energetic mother just
Nick.
faked me.
You don't know the order of the planets
from
the center.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Really?
Couldn't tell you.
You got to know these. Like to me, like Mercury.
Hold on.
All right.
I'll Google it.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune.
I'll check Google. And
Never
see
forget
if it's
Pluto.
Sometimes.
I'm never gonna forget. Sometimes Pluto. Like why?
Like so to me, it's just
messed
like
up.
I think it's just I can't balance whether it is like when I was a kid, like a young kid, I had a huge map in my room. I was obsessed with it. Like so that's like I love
I can just
looking
see
at
you
it.
there with a coffee and like a robe, and you're smoking a cigar, and you're just like or a pipe, and you're like New Zealand.
I used to
You're
like
next.
draw routes on it, and like I don't know. I just studied it, like I knew it. I know the map.
Yeah.
I know the map of the world really well, and like to me, I can't take that for granted. Like in the sense that like I just was attracted to these sorts of things, like you said. But at the same time, like what I find funny about that story is not necessarily that you didn't know where New Zealand was, but that you thought it was in Europe. And when I think about the map of Europe, I can see it perfectly in my head, and I'm like, where do you think that it was? Like that's the one thing. That's the one thing I think
Close to
about.
northeast.
Well, so I can.
But that's where Belgium and like the Netherlands are.
I know.
So I can see Greg's perspective on this, right? Because part of the reason why I know New Zealand, and obviously, is because of pop culture, right? I might be getting this wrong, and I hope I'm not. But Flight of the Conchords, those guys were from New Zealand, and they always made a joke saying that everyone was like, "Oh, you're from Australia," and they're like, "No, we're New Zealand." And it was an ongoing joke throughout the whole series, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny." That brought to mind the fact that there is this place called New Zealand. Talented people are from there. You should know what it is. Other than that, I had no exposure to it in pop culture and in the media, other than its relation to Australia. So it's not something that would have been on my mind enough to really drive it home where it is in the map. I'm not saying it's not something that you should or should not care about. It's just
Sure. Nobody's saying that. We should care about the people in New Zealand.
It's the same where if you said you could say where is Kansas
Greenland.
right now, and I would be like,
Do you know where Greenland is?
by Iceland.
Really? Is it? See, I would just think
it
all
is.
the lands are near each other. Switzerland, Greenland, Iceland.
I always remember that Greenland and Iceland because when you look on a map, one of them's got a lot of snow on it, and the other one's pretty green, and it's the
flipped it.
opposite of what it's supposed to be.
What's
That's how
up
I
with
tricked
that,
you.
Colin? Why?
As far as I understand, that was like I don't know if it's an urban legend or a myth or whatever, but like when the Vikings landed on Iceland to attract more people to go there, or I guess it was Greenland when they went to Greenland. To attract more people to go there, they pretended like it was Greenland or whatever, green. But I don't know if that's like an urban legend or not. The thing that fascinates me though is that, you know, I guess you mean Northeast Europe, so you mean like Scandinavia. That's where you thought New Zealand was, right? So like not northeast of France, which we were talking about before, but like going all the way around to like towards like Russia or towards the Baltic states and shit like that, and then going.
I mean,
up.
I'm going west of Russia.
West. Okay, yeah. So like this. So
I'm just
like
gonna look at the map and point.
So like Eastern Europe, like where Ukraine is.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Let me get it down.
Or
I will
or
literally
Latvia.
pinpoint to you where I thought it was.
I don't know. I don't really judge you on it. I thought it was astounding because I never thought that was something that was possible. And then when I reading a lot of the responses and I was talking here, it seems like maybe I'm in the minority. But I don't like that we have the stigma in this country of not knowing anything, because there's lots of people that know lots of things, and like sometimes I think we're proud of that, and I don't think we should be proud of that. You know?
Oh, I'm not.
I do think that there's like a little bit of a bravado about Americans where it's like, well, we're fucking the United States and we don't need to know where, you know, the Czech Republic is or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you kind of do, you know, like you should know that. Like there's just certain things you should know. And I think it's not really a judgment call, because there are definitely things that people would say to me and I'd be like, I don't know that. Maybe with pop culture or something. Certainly that would be my weakness, I think, today. But
yeah, but that's not like real knowledge. This is where it's like idiocracy, right? Like,
I don't know. It's just I don't really judge. It's the same thing I was thinking with planets though, where I honestly have those conversations with people sometimes that in my mind I'm like, are you for real? You know, like you weren't interested enough in science to like know, or the gas giants are out there and the rocky planets are inside. And
right there, like I know my very energetic mother. Like I can name the planets. At no point could I tell you which one the rock ones are and which ones the gas ones are. Like that's
all the inner planets are the rock ones, and then when you go to past the asteroid belt, they're all gas.
Oh, of course, yeah, you're right.
See, for me, my upbringing was I had great parents, but they never really challenged me to learn any of these things. And I always say, like, I didn't start really trying to assimilate information or take an interest in anything until well into college, which is hard to say because I did really well in high school. Didn't really care. I just figured out what the system was and was like, cool, I know exactly what I need to do to get an A. And sometimes I got a B or an A+, whatever, it doesn't matter. I took advanced placement classes just so that I could get a B and it would still count as an A. And I was like, cool, I got a good grade point average. Got into college, tried doing that in computer science and failed miserably because computer science is really hard, which was the first time in my life that any situation had ever forced me to be like, uh-oh, now I have to actually think about what I want to do and figure it out and go after something. And that's when I started doing film. Mm-hmm. But until at that point, everything was in one ear, processed, put on the paper, and the second it was on the paper, it was gone.
Right. That's the problem I think I have with, and I'm not just geography here. I'm talking about learning in general, right? It's in the way like grade school, junior high, and high school works. Is that you study for the test. You're not studying to commit unless you're interested in the subject material. You're not like it is literally in one ear. Like I'm talking about this story. Like I distinctly remember in junior high, 6th, 7th grade, being the only person in my geography or social studies class to get the extra credit question about where this obscure country was. And it was because the night before I studied the fucking map and I remember that country right over here that was, and I can't even tell you what section of the world we were studying. I'm just telling you that I remember at that point that's what it was. All right. So see, I was thinking, yeah, you're right, Ukraine, right? Because I'm saying again, northeast of France. Yeah, I'm not going up north. Okay. I mean, I'm saying in this landmass here. So I'd have been probably like, yeah, Poland, Belarus, somewhere right in there, yeah. Okay. Maybe even about, yeah. I mean, again, this is like I said, as soon as it happened, I was like, I can't believe I didn't know that I had no knowledge of a whole fucking mass off of Australia. I didn't even think about it. But then Christine came home, I told her, and in the middle of the story, I just started laughing hysterically because this would have been, and there's no way, obviously, to rewind time, not watch that video, and somehow tell you guys to ask me. Because it would have been fucking awesome to put up a blank map here and to go like, color in where you... And I'll be like,
we can do that every week, by the way. We could just have... it has to be on your honor system. We should just put up a map and Colin should be like, Nick, where is the Czech Republic? And just watch me fail miserably.
I don't know. It's not I don't think people should be ashamed. I just think that, and like shamed, it's funny, I guess. Like there are things that we don't know. And so I just... I wonder what kind of innate knowledge I personally have and other people have that maybe we just assimilated because we were interested in the topics, like you
Sure,
were saying.
sure.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It's just, I just had a map in my room my whole life, you know, and like that probably informed me. I think it's funnier now that I'm thinking about it that Greg thought that New Zealand was a Soviet satellite, which is even better. That's an even better part of the story.
Well, it's funny too because like I think about after it all happened, after the wool was pulled off of my eyes, I'm thinking, oh yeah, and how many times have you seen like AU/NE or Z? And I'm never dawned on me why these two, because it's just like it's information that is not pertinent to me at that time. You know what I mean? And people tweet about it. They're like, you're telling me that you met Lucy, the Lion O'Brien from IGN, and she's like, I'm from New Zealand. I'm like, she probably said that, and it never even registers. You know what I mean? It's like when somebody just tells you where they're from, you're like, okay, cool. All right, great. And this all goes back to the fact of too, on top of what I've been telling you about test taking and how I think the American educational system trains you to learn, which is not the best for recollection in your adult life. It's the same thing when I became a journalist, when I was working at the daily newspaper, right? I literally had to, when I discovered early on that if I didn't come home and have a pad and pen in my pocket, I would forget things. Because I got so used to I ask you the question, you respond, and I write it down, and like that's what I remember when I need the article. That when we would just have a conversation, 30 minutes later, I would forget what you told me. I just wouldn't even, like, your age, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm terrible at stuff like that. Birth dates, names now. I feel like I've overloaded on names, where now when I meet new people, like, we just had Christina, obviously, right? Christine comes today. This is my fiance, Brandon. I'm like, great. And I look at him, and I'm shaking his hand. I'm like, Brandon Routh, Superman. Like, I need some kind of device to remember your name. Otherwise, I'll just move on. There's so many people at work now that I go, hey, man, what's up? No fucking idea what your name is. And we're way past the point of me being able to ask what your name is.
I don't know a lot of people's
You know what I
names,
mean? Like, it's just like, you need, there's so much information on a daily basis that we fucking need ready to go. That there's things that when I meet you or deal with a country or see something that isn't pertinent to that what I need right now, it's just gone. Don't worry, I don't have time for this.
Plus, it's like we're in the era of information overload,
right?
Where like every day 50 people talk to me at the same time about 50 different things, and like I just can't be an expert on every subject. I have to just pick and choose my battles. My wife, if she were listening to this, would be basically rolling her eyes. She loves to travel, which I feel like and I don't want to overgeneralize, because you're right. It's ridiculous to overgeneralize and say everyone in the United States doesn't know geography, because it's absolutely not true. But my wife is more European, I think, in mindset than I am, growing up in Southern California and being kind of, not subjugated, but like just kind of that's the wrong word.
Subjugated by his wife.
I was going to say cloistered.
Isolated.
I was going to say cloistered, but isolated was the word I was looking for.
In the isolationist inland empire.
Right, that's our sign, by the way. It's we just scored a goal. My wife, however, traveled. She wanted to, when she graduated from high school and college, she went abroad and studied and taught over there, what she does now, and she loves that so much that I can see her looking at different places in the world and like, what is it to do there? Where are the different places we'd go? Where would we stay? What would we explore? These things. So I bet if I asked her any country, she would know exactly where it was and probably how much the airfare was to get there, because that is her thing. That is her passion to travel. She told me when we got married, she was like, I just want someone who will go on adventures with me, and I want you to be that guy. Jury's still out.
I will go
Jury's still out on that
Taco
one.
Bell.
My two stipulations: is there a Starbucks there, and do they understand the words venti iced coffee unsweetened? No room. I don't need room in this $3 coffee. Just FYI.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's I don't know. It's just a weird thing. What you're passionate about, what you want to know about. Like, I studied French, right, and went to France and enjoyed France. I know France pretty well. Japan, I love Japan. Like, I went there for TGS. We went there last year in November.
It's in South America, right?
Right, exactly. Right around that belt of South America. One of the best South American countries. But yeah, I don't know. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it, because the tweet obviously doesn't represent as much that was going on there. Just the fact of, like, it wasn't something I was proud of. I also wasn't disturbed by it. It's just like, but then it's that weird thing. I think, like, whenever maybe again, I'm making a huge generalization, please tell me in the comments, tweet at me too, but like, when you live somewhere and that's your home, and like it'd be like, you've never been to Chicago, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know anything about Chicago. Like, it'd be the same. You don't know anything about New Zealand. Granted, I know it's a country. I know it's different, but
again,
it's the same
because you
thing.
grew up in a cool place. I can't be like, you guys don't know anything about Riverside. You guys would never have heard of that town, really, unless I was from there.
But again, I mean, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. You'd say you're from Orange County. I would understand that. Thanks to the OC. Big ups. Josie, Ryan.
I
Phantom
met
Planet.
Ben
Yeah.
McKenzie at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Talked to him for about 5 seconds because he was down there for Gotham.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're still as cool as I remember you. What up? Big ups to Chino.
Big ups, Chino. Let us know in the comments how you come down on this whole issue about where countries are. How well should someone know geography? Yeah, should you be able to pull it out of your butt at any time and watch a Monopoly documentary in peace? Colin.
I want to close on a more serious subject, and I'm not going to get too in the weeds on it, but I'm curious about what you guys think about immigration in the United States. The reason I ask is because there's a big thing going on in the news the last few weeks. There's a crisis on the southern border. A lot of children from certain Central and South American countries are coming through Mexico and into the States and basically pleading asylum because they're escaping what they deem persecution and danger in their own countries. A lot of them are, not all of them, but a lot of them are unattended. They were basically sent by their parents with coyotes to come up. Coyotes,
Not like
real
the
like the
dogs.
animal. Coyotes are people that are paid lots of money to guide people across the border, like sneak them in. So, I'm kind of curious about like what your guys' thoughts on what we should, like, in a more general way, like what do we do with these people? What should we do with them? And what should our policy be about letting people into the United States generally? And are you afraid that that there's a danger of losing American culture, whatever that might be, whatever that might mean, by letting in people from around the world, whether legally or illegally?
Sure.
And I'll start. The Irish side of my family, the Moriartys, came here in the 1850s, and we fought in the Civil War and all that kind of stuff. So we're kind of like OG American. The Italian side of my family didn't come here until after World War I, and so we're all products of immigrants, all of us. Unless I guess you're Native American, Indian, and I think that immigration is a really important part of America. I think that it constantly changes everything in the United States, usually for the better. We had a very like Anglo kind of Western European vibe to the United States for a long time, from the Revolution through the Civil War. And then the Irish started coming here and they were persecuted against, and the Chinese came here and they were persecuted against. And obviously the black population that we brought here in chains was persecuted against that entire time. And then it goes on and on and on. But what I always feel like is we always assimilate these people and we take little things from their culture and make them our own. And I read this really interesting piece by this, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's a Chinese guy, he's a Chinese American. And he was saying that America is unique because a Chinese family will come here and they rear Chinese American people that are 1 foot in the Chinese culture and 1 foot in the American culture. But what makes the United States interesting and unique, whether it's Mexican American or whoever, is that you don't go to China and find American Chinese. There's no American Mexican. It only goes really the other way, meaning that we have the unique position of like assimilating these cultures and bringing them here and kind of melting them together, and that is what America is. So I don't really feel like there's a danger in having like an immigration policy that lets new people in here, because I feel like we actually have thrived on that, whether it was the Chinese coming to build the railroad, whether it was the Irish escaping the potato famine, whether it was the Russians trying to get out of, after the Soviets took over in the 19-teens after World War I, whether it was the Jews coming here after World War II or right before World War II when they knew that shit was about to go down. So I'm kind of just curious about what your thoughts are on that. And
see, that's the problem. The main problem I have with it is that what you're hitting on is, I think, what American culture is, right? The melting pot. Obviously, there aren't American or American Mexicans, right, who have gone to, and there aren't American Canadians, right? We're special because we're a country founded by immigrants, and we're a country that's all about immigration. And I feel like in the national dialogue a lot lately, especially in politics, right, that gets lost, where all of a sudden we want to close the borders, we want to build a giant wall. And the problem is that it's such a fucking complicated problem, right? It's so complicated, and I wish it was easy, right? It sounds easy when you think about it, right? You're like, there's illegal immigrants coming in. Stop. There's a line of immigrants or would-be immigrants trying to go through the proper channels, trying to go through all these correct things they have the right forms of ID and they filled out the right questionnaires and they're ready and they're trying to do it. Let them in first, right? But then you have these calls for asylum. You have children being dropped off on the doorstep, and what do you do then? You know what I mean? You have people who are wantonly breaking the laws to get in, and I'm not saying their reasons aren't in the right place or whatever. And it's like, how do you balance that against the people who are waiting the right way, right? And so then it seems like the argument seems to be is, well, then it's got to just be turned off, right? We have to build the wall. We have to stop immigration. We have to do this. We have to figure that out. We have to stop and solve our problems. And of course, because we're America, there's a million other problems going on. So it's just lost in this echo chamber of problems and people yelling and pontificating and stuff, soapboxes, and well, there's that, but there's abortion and there's gay marriage, and you know what I mean? Like, there's all these goddamn bullet point talking points that nothing ever really gets done. And so I get really offended when you see politicians out there who are blind, I feel like, to what my belief and what I've read about how the country's history is, right, and what our populace is and how we came to be, who now want to make it, well, no, you can't have anybody else in here, you know what I mean? Or like, no, this is what America is, and America's constantly changing. That's why it's awesome, and that's why we, have great Tex-Mex and we have all this.
That is why we have.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can be honest and say that I'm split on the issue. Right, I can see both sides, and when I ask myself why would anyone be against that, it's from just a pure standpoint of fear, right? A fear of overloading the system, fear of like maybe there one day won't be enough for everyone to go around, and we have to have some sort of order to this chaos, which I think is where a lot of people, that's when if you're sort of sliding against immigration, that's probably where that roots from. That's probably where that stems from, in my opinion. I don't think it's in me when I look inwardly, I'm like, it's not something of saying like I have something awesome that I don't want anyone else to have. It's a fear that like bringing millions and millions of new people into the United States with an economy that's not exactly the greatest thing on the planet might destroy us, right? And so my brain goes, okay, there has to be a system that can keep that in order, and I can understand where the conclusion of, well, let's build a giant wall so that when people want to get into this country, they have to do it by the proper channels so we can control the influx of new blood into the country. Having said that, I grew up and I worked in college through restaurants, and I worked, in Southern California with a lot of illegal immigrants that were working illegally. They were working under false social security numbers, and they were...
Your social security number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5...
That would have been amazing. They had different names, and they were forced to sort of live in fear constantly of being deported from the country. And they were working double shifts and taking every single dollar that they didn't need to live and sending it back home. Mm-hmm. And so at the same time, once you see that, you're like, this person wants to really be in this country and is willing to work really hard to do that. And I'm saying this is a very obviously isolated example, because I'm sure that there are people that aren't willing to work that hard. But if you're willing to risk your life to come to some place, that says that you at least want it enough to probably come and be a productive member of the society. Maybe not, again, overgeneralizing. But once I saw that, I was like, I can't in good conscience be 100% on either side of this, right? Mm-hmm. I can see it, and I can step back and look at it. It's tough. It's a hard one.
It is a hard one. Yeah.
Is building a wall and just like not letting anyone in even an option?
Yeah, that is. I mean, there is a wall on part of the border.
There's a lot of fence, right?
Yeah, and there's like, literally a wall too. I mean, like I actually have no problem with us building the wall. I think it actually makes sense to control.
Are you actually talking about actually building a wall?
Yeah, like a huge
not
wall.
Just like
a 20-foot wall you can't climb, and like snipers on the borders.
Like I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. You just have to compartmentalize them. Like I think that we should control the border. Like have complete control over the border. Like absolutely. The bigger issue to me is I agree with the things you're saying. Like generally, like I don't believe in the nativist stance of like no immigration. Like, and I don't believe in the stance like you don't. Like we're somewhere in the middle where it's like just everyone just come here. Right. I don't think it makes any sense. Mm-hmm. The conundrum is like, what if the people, there were a lot of immigration people always in the United States, always. And what if they dissuaded my Irish ancestors from coming here, and my Italian ancestors from coming here? I just think that there are certain ways to do it. I agree, like the legal channels are the right way to do it. And I feel bad for the people that are waiting in line. It's just like, it's interesting because we do have like a crisis where like these children will be sent back and probably not live very long, or be
it's really fucked up is the kids, because it's just like these kids get brought into these situations and they need to grow up, even if they get here, right? they're growing up and that's their life, and they need to figure out how to make that work. And their friends can do whatever they want, but they can't. And it's like they need to keep these secrets and do all this stuff, and that's so fucked up that they need to live that way. But it's like still a better life than.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hard part too, is when you start looking at the root of the problem. It's not the fact that people can or cannot get into this country. It's the fact they want to leave their own country. Why is that, right? And that's when it gets incredibly complex, right? Why do we have so many people immigrating from Mexico? Well, Mexico's kind of a messed up place. By all accounts, it's full of corruption, and the government doesn't treat its people very well. There are nice spots of it, sure, like any other country, but still at the same time, it's like that is a problem we cannot fix. Is that our problem to deal with?
A lot of people say it is, because a lot of people say that like the drug cartels that control a lot of these countries are subsisting, rightfully so, on American money. That like the drug trade is the United States.
Yeah.
And like they exist because
we're the number one customer.
Yeah, like and a lot of them say that, and I don't necessarily think it's fair to like pin it on us, but like when they say the president of one of those countries that is having this problems, I don't remember which one it is, so I don't want to say, it might be Honduras or something, was saying like it's your fault that this is happening. Like you are the market for all of these cartels that are taking everything over. And like you guys need to take some responsibility for that.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that that's completely fair, because not everyone in the United States does the drugs. A very small amount of people actually are doing drugs, and so everyone has to pay. I think that the solution is really easy, because you can have a humanitarian, a humanitarian slant while protecting illegal immigration. And the way you do that, and I've said it before, is just legalize them. You're not a citizen. You can stay for X amount of years. We're not going to deport you. If you want to become a citizen, you can get on the back of the line, go back where you came from, and get in the back of the line, and you can come in the legal way. In the meantime, you can stay here and work and do your thing, pay taxes. You cannot have Medicare, you cannot have Social Security, you cannot vote, you can't have Medicaid or any public assistance. But if we want to make sure that they can't, that's my stance, is to say well, let's compromise. Yeah. There's not enough of that. It's to say, okay, we're not going to deport you, we're not sending you back, right? And we'll give you a path to get your citizenship, right? That's going to require you to go home at some point, But in the meantime, just chill.
Why not? But why would it require them to go home, right? And that's the question. If they're already here and they're already being productive members of society.
But there's people who didn't do that, right? This is the same thing with and I'm not at all comparing these, but to boil it down to the simplest thing, right? Like I'm waiting in line for the PlayStation 4, right? And I've been waiting for hours and hours and hours, and then at some point somebody walks out with a PlayStation 4. How did you do that? Well, I just went up to this thing, knew that guy, and I got in and got one, and now I'm out. You know what I mean? Why am I being penalized for going through what your government is telling me is the correct way to do this? Meanwhile, somebody who just ran under
But I feel like that's true, but at the same time, it's such a hulking problem that we're clearly, the system's broken. It's not working. Right,
but
clearly, if people can just walk into this country and be dropped off on someone else's doorstep, the current system of, hey, there's a giant line over there, but by the way, there's no fence here, so just walk in whenever you want. It's like Magic Mountain, right? If there were no fences whatsoever, there were no lines, it's just all chaos, right? So you have to have order on some degree. What you're saying is actually a fairly straightforward compromise, but let them stay in the country and let them wait. And it might take 40 years, or it might take 30 years to become a naturalized citizen. The only problem is in that time they're going to have kids, and then their kids become citizens, and then they get to stay, right?
Sure, and maybe we need to change birthright citizenship, because we have birthright citizenship for a reason that doesn't make much sense anymore. But that is fine if we want but that's almost like getting too complicated, right? Maybe we just say that there's a lot of people that say maybe one of the parents has to be a citizen for this to kick in, and that's obviously going to require a constitutional amendment, which is fucking really hard to do,
right?
And rightfully so. I think that you're right. You'll have birthright citizenship, they have a kid, then they stay, but I don't really have a problem with that, because those kids, when you're born here, you're just born. You can't really be blamed for that. You know what I mean? It's a really complicated issue. I think we have to have. I think there's some silliness going on with it. For instance, the Obama administration saying they want to send people directly to these countries to figure out if we should just give them asylum immediately, so that they don't even have to do this arduous trek across Mexico. And I'm like, that's a little much. That's something we did in Vietnam, by the way, and that was because we fucking ravaged that place. So we went there and we're like, just come here. That's why there's a lot of Vietnamese people in the United States, is directly because of, especially on the West Coast, is directly from Vietnam War, because we were like, all right, we really all right, come on. But people have made really interesting points where it's okay, we're going to go to these countries and do that. So why don't we go to some of these African countries Why don't we go to North Korea? Why don't we go to, like X, Y, and Z? The Ukraine's all fucked up right now. When we go, and it's like, okay, that's a great point. Like, we have to draw the line somewhere. You don't have a right to be an American. And not everyone that wants to come here can be here. It's just the unfortunate nature of the business.
Right.
But what if we have to have humanitarian slant and kind of an understanding slant? What if they did that to our people back in the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
what if they did it to my mom?
Yeah.
Or my grandmother, both of whom were native Italians, right? And the thing I always look at is, at the end of the day, you can say, okay, let's do the letter of the law. Let's make sure no one breaks the law or no one does anything that is considered on a world level to be wrong, right? But then you have to take a look not too long ago when a group of people decided, let's break the law. Let's defy what is supposed to be the norm, and let's break away, and let's start this thing. And that's what this country is about. It's about, if you want it bad enough, you find a way to get it. You're American. All of a sudden you are American, right? And that's why I think that's honestly the driving factor that makes us one of the best places and one of the best countries on the planet, is that we do not accept the norm. We do not accept the rule of like, sit down, shut up, and do what you're supposed to do. We're American. No, we don't do that, right? That's what the country is. And so there's a part of me that says, if you want it bad enough and you get it, you deserve it. Yeah. It's kind of weird to say, but that's like, that drives us.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I just think that a lot of it, there's a lot of racism in it, no doubt, that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of, I think that, again, like every other issue, there just has to be compromise. Like, to become an American citizen, I do believe you need to know English. I think that you have to pay your fines and do all that kind of stuff and wait. You have to wait. You have to take tests and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that that's fair. But I also think that if you're in dire straits or you're here illegally, you sneak in, or you just really want to be here and you're poor and things are really bad back home or whatever, should we prioritize deporting you? Maybe. Is it better to just say like, all right, like we're not gonna, we're not gonna deport you? Maybe. I think that the big issue is that, and I think it's a fine point, and because it's such a tough issue, is to say like, well, what's stopping everyone from coming here then?
Right.
Like if it's just gonna be fine, then everyone should just come.
Right.
And you can just live here forever. And that's a good point too. But when children are involved, like, George Will, who's a really prominent conservative columnist, he's a really smart guy, usually like an arch conservative, like a really conservative dude. He's the one who said, and it surprised me to hear him say it. He was like, we should be welcoming them into the country, being like, we're going to educate you and you're going to become American, and like do the right thing by them. But it's tough because what's stopping, I don't know, it's just a bad example. What's stopping people in Eastern Ukraine sending their kids here? What's stopping North Korean kids from escaping and seeking asylum and all those kinds of things? It's just, it's a tough issue.
That's when you put it like that, and like North Korea obviously is.
I mean, not that they're going to be able to leave North Korea, but
no, exactly, which is crazy, right? And that's in that instance, you think, oh my god, if they can get out of North Korea, absolutely,
yeah,
right, absolutely, we should take those people in. So how is that any different from it? It's a very complex issue. Right?
Yeah, it is, and I just wanted to kind of bring that up because it's just like the zeitgeist right now in politics. The thing that really bothers me is it's such a politically driven thing, which is why I think the compromise has to be that they can't vote until they become citizens. Obviously, you can't vote if you're not a citizen, but you can legalize them, but you can't give them citizenship,
right? Because
I do think that it's all about the party that figures it out first buys those votes forever, and that's why it's the same thing with, like I said, with Cuban Americans, and that they voted Republican reliably for generations because of what Eisenhower did for them, and we can't play political games with people's lives or be gamey with it, because that's what's happening, and that's the thing that really bothers me. It's really not about them, it's about who can fucking figure it out first.
See, I don't think it'll be the government that figures it out. What I think it'll be is a private corporation that figures out. I feel like you see this all the time with big business, where they figure out, obviously in those countries, but they figure out that these people can come and they can work for a wage that's well below what's considered minimum, or well below, anything, right? Because you're illegal and you have the fear. So I feel like one of my big fears is that someone's going to figure out a legal way to employ illegal immigrants and not have to pay them, which I know is incredibly hard. But if they can figure that system out, holy crap! We're a capitalistic society and money reigns supreme. If you can figure out how to put all those people to work and make a profit off of that, you've suddenly got a huge workforce. So I don't know.
To me, the one thing I want to stress, because I think it's really important, is that Chinese gentleman, I wish I remembered his name, that wrote that piece. I think he actually wrote a whole book about it. It's just like we can borrow, like we have the advantage. We look at it as a disadvantage usually, right? Like as Americans that are here, we're like, we're here, we're American. You know, you're not American, we're American. And his whole thing is like, well, no, because we have the Chinese American society that we can borrow their emphasis on community, and we can have the Japanese American and we can borrow their sense of honor, and we can have, you know, the French American who's maybe, you know, like art or food, you know, like whatever it is, like
Fries.
you know, like fries, exactly.
Right.
We can have we can have all of these, you know, the Russian American, you know, with the hard work. We can have, like, we can borrow all of these kinds of things from all these different societies that defines us, as we often did when we already had people come here and we borrowed from them. Often the only thing is that they were Western European. You know, like, and that seems to be the difference, and it's hard to be intellectually honest about it and not say like that there's just some veiled thing about people feeling like they're going to lose, like what it is to be American. And for me, it's to say that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but see,
you know,
I mean,
it's not going to happen. Like, people are really scared. By 2038, the white population will fall below 50% in the United States, which is like unbelievable. You know. And that's not a bad thing.
That's nature.
No.
And
That's
it's
the way
just,
it goes.
it's like there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we're always going to speak English in the United States. We're always going to, you know, have American culture and pop culture and movies and music.
that's
It's
the thing,
not going
when
to
you-
change. It doesn't really
That's
matter
the thing,
who
when you say
are.
what is American culture, right? I honestly believe our culture is that it's every culture. It's anything and anyone can be American.
I think Korean burritos.
Boom.
Yeah.
You got to borrow
Kimchi
the burritos
burrito.
from
like,
Korea.
but that's the thing, and that's why it's so hard. It's such a double standard, right? Because if you really want to play by the letter of the law, anyone can be American. That's the whole point of our country, right? I don't want to liken it back to Batman, but anyone can be Batman because we are a symbol of something greater in the world, and everyone should be able to do this. What the country is founded on, you know. And to sit back and say no, we're American, you can't come in, is like, what do you think our forefathers would think of that? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we can't have a moratorium on it. I think that the problem, as we've said, is lawlessness, and, like, you know, doing it the right way. And I do respect the sanctity of the people that are in line. I also think it's unreasonable to round everyone up and deport them. You can't do that. That's like police state tactics. Like, if the United States, like, yeah, there are 10, 12 million people in the United States that are not citizens that are here totally illegally. And yet, theoretically, the military can go and round them all up. Do you really want to live in a society where the military is fucking going door to door and rounding? Like, that's scary shit. The fact is that our lax policy, that you can blame a lot on Washington, you know, for, like, we can certainly blame Washington and Obama's lax policy on and enforcing immigration policy by all these kids and their parents thinking that they can come here because Obama's basically like, just, we're not enforcing anything anymore, you know? So yeah, there's the blame to be laid on the government, but there's a humanitarian crisis. Families being split up, all of these kinds of things. Maybe we just need to figure out a way to work around it. Maybe we have to figure out like a two-tiered citizenship kind of thing, but that then creates a strata that we don't want in the United States, and
Separate
like, so
but
it's all yeah, it's separate but equal. It's like, it's all and that's not right. It's like all complicated. I think when you talk it out, though, you always come back to just we can't have a society that's just like splitting families up and doing all that kind of stuff. And maybe we should just encourage them to you know, these people to be American. You know?
Yeah.
Let's just forfeit it all to Canada.
Sure. So anyway, I thought that, you know, I found the conversations going on recently really thought provoking. It is totally politically toxic. I do not think that the whole amnesty thing is going to happen. I don't think that's a good idea. But at the same time, maybe you just amnesty as far as just saying, like, we're not going to deport you. You know?
Yeah.
Just chill out. Get your fucking driver's license if you want. Pay your taxes. But you can't have... You just can't have the fruits of citizenship until you do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with just saying that. You can't vote. If you want to vote, get in line.
Yep.
You know? And so that's my solution. I just think we have to be really mindful of that, you know, and really mindful of, you know, I always think about like you said, like, I always think about my great grandmother who came from Italy, and, you know, she didn't speak a lick of English. You know, and we would see her for Sunday dinner, and she would just be sitting in her chair watching Wheel of Fortune or whatever, and you just go kiss her on the cheek, and she'd just sit there. She didn't speak a fucking word of English, you know? But her coming here allowed my grandma to be born, and me being here and stuff. I don't know. I just think about it like, you just kind of have to play the long game, and it's the nativism and stuff and the xenophobia is like really scary to me. So, and fucked up, because we could have been victimized by it.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think, immigration? Let us know in the comments. This has been another episode of the Game Over Greggy Show. Remember, every week, 4, sometimes 5, and/or a TGIF cast made come around this table, each bringing a random topic of conversation for your amusement. If you like that, you can get the full MP3 version over at GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com for $1 each and every Friday. The entire episode, uncut. Don't worry about it. It's great. Don't want to give us the $1? It's cool. We'll be all right. We'll make it. Bitters grow on trees. Instead, you can go to youtube.com/GameOverGreggy, and every day by day, each topic is broken out topic by topic.
Was that intentional?
Day by day?
Yeah.
I try to give you some little gems to see if you're listening still.
I'm tuned in.
I know. Remember, go buy t-shirts at districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy. Catch my Twitch streams at twitch.tv/GameOverGreggy every Monday at 9 p.m. or every Saturday when I post them on youtube.com/GameOverGreggy. Until next time, big ups to T-Dog.
I'm not doing it.
You're done with it?
No, I'm not doing it.
Why are you done with it?
I don't know. I just don't want it to be. I don't want it to be a thing that we do forever.
Well, it's not forever. Just do one last time.
This is it?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So anyways, until next time, big ups to T-Dog.
See, I always look at that spot.
I just look at the camera the whole time. You guys look around, but I just look straight ahead.